Excuse me.
Thank you.
I had two of them.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need another one? Do you need another? Okay. I don't know.
So did you come by Portugal or something?
No, I just walked with my day.
Oh, okay. So that's one more portion of time.
I'm gonna bring it. Hey, hold on.
I tried to print mine out, didn't work out.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Will everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Mr. Blackwell. Mr. Perry.
Here.
Mr. Dornan said he would be absent. Mr. Coleman. Mr. Nash. Here. Mr. Vaca. Present. Mr. Grant. Here. Ms. Dice. Here. Mr. Antonacci. Here. Chief Carlson. Here. Mr. Attorney Rucker. Mr. Radisho. You've all received a copy of the minutes for meeting on 7/16/2024. What are the wishes of council?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Can't find my glasses.
You didn't take them
I put them in my case.
off. Maybe they're,
No.
there aren't.
Look. What's that?
Oh, there's a piece of-
No, I was just looking to sign up.
Colin Brandt?
I need more than you.
Hi, good evening. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. And I want to speak on the ordinance that would prohibit, parking, long-term parking specifically in residential yards. And I think you got to look at two key points when we look at this topic. Look at the positive impact it brings, right? Manor is somewhere that I take pride in living in. I take pride in our town's appearance and the impression it leaves on both visitors and locals. When people drive through, they see a clean, welcoming neighborhood, not patchworks of vehicles that have been left behind for months or for weeks, whatever it is. Manor isn't a junkyard, nor should it ever resemble one, right? When I drive through, I feel a sense of pride seeing thriving local businesses from when Old Manor Diner was here, auto shops, car washes that serve our community well throughout the years. However, long-term parking in your yard, especially with rundown or unused vehicles, whatever it is, undermines that sense of pride. People want to see green lawns whenever they come through our neighborhood that are neatly kept, not rust buckets that distract from the beauty and appeal of our neighborhood. This ordinance isn't designed to restrict short-term parking for guests. If you want to have people over for a Christmas party coming up and you need people to park in your yard, let them park in your yard for the evening, and then they'll be bailing out around 9 o'clock to go home with their families. But it's about setting a standard, okay? You don't want to create this trashy impression. On the other hand, though, you have people that are going to argue this and say that, it's my individual property right, the property is mine, and Manor isn't, well, governed by an HOA, so why should they be telling me how to use my yard? And so we have ordinances that are already in place about, your grass has to be a certain length. You can't have it go over a certain length, or you're gonna have someone come down and tell you, hey, your grass is getting too tall, you're not maintaining it anymore. It's to keep our community looking nice, and you have no problem with that. I see all of you out there cutting your yards every week, right? Like clockwork, in and out, at least in my neighborhood. So why is this any different? We're just trying to keep Manor looking nice. And it's preventing it from becoming eyesores, right? It would accomplish much of the same as the grass type ordinance does. And instead of it, it maintains a certain appearance standard, this proposed ordinance would help ensure that our yards remain uncluttered and visually appealing without vehicles left sitting for what could be months. Allowing long-term yard parking for a few can lead to what's often called a trickle effect. And if I see my neighbor Joe Schmo routinely parking in his yard, I'll start doing it too, because he's doing it, he hasn't got in trouble for it, so why shouldn't I just follow suit? And then it becomes just a norm rather than just an exception as to, oh, they just park their car in their yard. And this habit doesn't affect just a single property. It gradually lowers all of our property values of nearby homes and diminishes the overall appearance of our community. And while I understand that some of you guys are going to oppose this ordinance as an infringement on your property rights, it's essential to consider our bigger picture here, and that we each have a responsibility to contribute to our community standard, and that this ordinance is not about dictating every detail of how people manage their property. It's about maintaining a balance that respects both individual rights and the shared environment that we all live in, right? I want to thank you guys for giving me the time, and I hope you guys vote that we should not be allowed to park in our yards long term. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Charles Hanna.
Charles Hanna, speaking to the old business item A, adoption of ordinance 602-2404, Manor Borough zoning ordinance. Good government seeks to protect and serve the citizens it represents. It does so in a way that is as unobtrusive as possible, restricting individual freedoms only so far as demonstrably necessary to ensure the same freedoms of other individuals and achieve community goals. Good zoning rightfully can separate industrial and business areas from residential and agricultural areas when the community agrees that it is of value. It can also restrict or segregate noxious or objectionable activities that threaten the character of the community or the safety of its citizens or children. Constraints placed on individual property owners within an identified zoned area, such as owners of residential property, should be the minimum necessary to maintain the appropriate zoning, not the maximum control that bureaucrats can identify. Laws and ordinances should be tested against the criteria of what is the goal of this particular law? Is this goal truly necessary? Is this the least restrictive way of accomplishing this goal? Is this law internally coherent in its construction? Is this law externally coherent with our Constitution and other laws? Are there unintended consequences from this law? Does the good of this law outweigh the unintended consequences or restrictions of freedoms that it imposes? One specific example I'll bring up, and that's all I'll address, is where the proposed ordinance clearly has not been looked at rigorously and needs to be revised is Article 5, Area and Bulk Standards, Section 501, Lot and Yard Requirements, Paragraph H, Driveways and Vehicle Parking in Required Yards, which states that for a single-family dwelling, no yard may be used for parking vehicles except on a driveway, and not more than 25% of the front yard may be devoted to driveway access. What is the goal of this, and why is it truly necessary? How does this protect a citizen or serve a property owner? Why the arbitrary restriction imposed by a government entity? It is neither restricted in its extent nor coherent, and has many, I presume, unintended consequences. There are no modifiers, such as abandoned or non-working vehicles, or vehicles leaking fluids, or vehicles parked overnight. So this applies to all vehicles parked. A parent, a grandparent, or working-age teenager's vehicle, a pickup truck being used to load or unload an appliance or a piece of furniture, trying to bring a mobility-impaired person home from the hospital and shorten their ambulation to the front door. All break the law if it is turned off and the driver exits the vehicle.
Excuse me.
Graduation party.
Just to remind everybody, because it's in an ordinance, it's 3 minutes for us to speak.
Sorry, I'll be quicker then. I'll read faster. I
Please
got my
do.
New York style.
Thank you.
Graduation party and try to limit the on-street parking, lawbreaker. Want to work on your vehicle in your backyard so you don't block your garage door access, lawbreaker. Before we hear the objection of that's hyperbole, no one will enforce the law in that circumstance, that is not an excuse for writing poor laws, nor should we ever encourage selective enforcement. Citizens should not be put in a position of breaking the law and relying on non-enforcement. We did that with the cul-de-sac parking laws, which do not include any exceptions, avoiding all use of the easily included modifiers of overnight, during inclement weather, or anything else that make it less than a complete ban. Finally, where did the arbitrary 25% come from? The R1 minimum lot width is 90 feet for new construction, something that we were apparently willing to drop towards 70 feet during the attempted development of the old age home property on Borough. Consider a standard front entry 2-car garage as part of a house on a regular rectangular lot. The math isn't difficult. 2 9-foot single garage doors with a 2-foot vertical between them for the door tracks and the steel beam and pole necessary to support 2.5 feet, 30 inches on either side to allow doors to open. Take it straight out to the street. No extra space. Nothing for a third car, nothing for extra space to get an elderly parent around the car door, nothing for basketball hoop or anything else. No third space, garage space either, even in this day and age. So rectangular lot, not a cul-de-sac, it's easy math. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 2 in the center is 20, plus 2.5 on either side, that's 5 total, is 25. 25 is 25% of 100. Illegal driving. Why? It doesn't even meet the basic needs of our citizens. We can do better. Thank you.
Donna Rubright?
Hello, everybody.
I know.
How we all doing? Question, did everybody read the 112 page?
Good question.
You did? Yeah. I'm up here about the parking. Granted, you know, back in the younger heyday, my parents were the first ones to move into that neighborhood. The road wasn't even paved yet. So, they had 8 kids. You have 8 kids driving. I mean, we abused it, yes. But, you know, Tony, you have more than 4 kids, 3, 4 kids. You got 4 parking spaces, 2 adults. I mean, you know, you're gonna have someone that's gonna park in their yard. I can understand if I have a car up in blocks in the middle of the yard, back in my old days when we used to demolition derby, I'm sure it was an eyesore. We were told about it. Hey, come on, get your shit out of the yard. I get that. But like it says, it's this day and age, the vehicles are bigger, they're different, and like it says, if you wanna have a boat, you wanna have a travel trailer, and everything's blocking that, you can't, you know, there's no place to park it. If y'all wanna figure something out here to calm down everything here, stop building so many damn houses. Try to get through the underpass at 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. There's no way. If there's a fire or a wreck or something, then the trucks are stuck for 20 minutes. They can't get through. And everybody's worried about, you know, oh my God, I backed into my yard to unload groceries or to carry some furniture or something, man. It's not the way we should be going about it. I mean, we're not a gated community, we're not an HOA. It is Manor. I know everybody wants to improve it and make it look nice, but you gotta start somewhere different. I mean, when it says, y'all drive around, I know the chief drives around and stuff. I know Chuck Cherry and them guys used to drive around, because one day he stopped at my house and got out and went around and looked at my car. Got in it, opened the hood and all that fun stuff. So I know you guys follow all that, but you can't just, you know, tell people you can't park in your yard. And I'm sure the police have something better to do than to walk around, oh, you're parking your yard, you've been there for 5 minutes, let me give you a ticket. it's not gonna work. There's other shit you guys need to be going after. I mean, you know, I, 4 parking spaces. I collect old cars, I have old cars. I have 3 houses. 4 cars here, 2 cars there, a car over here. I mean, they're not always in my yard, but yeah, I go in my yard. I wanna wash my car, I do it. You know, we have the cars in the yard and we get them ready for the parades and stuff for Manor. We sponsor Manor. So, like I said, you know, everybody here, you have more than 1 car. And you have, your kids all have cars. I mean, you know, you're gonna be parked in your yard every now and then. Everybody's gonna do it. I can see the people that are abusing it, but to beat up everybody else for it, yeah, not cool. I think y'all should table it and rethink it. Thank you.
Jerry Lewis?
I pass due to being under the threat of arrest if I speak, because I have a cop behind me since I was charged the last time.
Okay. Bonnie Dawson?
Hi. I'm not speaking about the women. I'd like to get my ARPA funds, since I know time is coming close. So I know we have like 350 grand to spend. Let's do the 40,000 or so on the sign. But then I also had a thought, how do we give that money back to the residents that were here in 2020 and 2021? I had asked for accounts just to get an idea. Wasn't able to get that quick enough, so I'm just gonna guess like 2,500 residents in the borough. If we divide that.
Add
1,000. Okay, well then we're gonna add 1,000, and we're gonna look at about $100 a resident. So I think that's kind of nice, especially around the holidays coming up. Figure if we have like 1,000 in administrative costs for organizing and all that stuff, I think it's doable. So let's just do the sign, give money to the residents, and if there's anything left over, let's maybe give it to the food bank. I did call the food bank, and we can earmark money specifically for Manor. It just has to be noted on it. I gave some information about an option for the toilets for the park. The company is called Green Flush. I think I would really like you guys to look at that more. About the pager for emergency management, for what? Terry, you have a cell phone, you, I think, just got a new radio. Are we gonna be asking for a belt that's Super Duty or a vest for you to be able to wear all of these things next month? We don't have an emergency management plan for Manor. Could we maybe do that before we buy more stuff? And that's it. Thank you.
Denise Duval?
I read the new ordinance. Or does it say anything about a tree service, which I deal with next door to me, that is now turned into a log splitting business? Is there anything in there for that provisions it? Because it's also a junkyard, there's a car that is not inspected. He was told to take the fence down, the 4x4s are still standing. What is in the ordinance about this, taking care of this, or what is he considered? Anyone?
Denise, does he have an actual, what type of business is it? Is it a business? Is it advertised as a business? I don't know the address at all, I have no idea.
I don't know what the address is either, it's just at the end of 3rd Street.
Chelsea, it is at least 40-year-old.
So it's a pre-existing.
By prescription.
Okay.
And it was originally a gentleman who owned a tree service.
Okay.
And he used it as a place to park his vehicles at the dead end of a road. There's acres behind it, he's on that.
So I think with respect to that, there could be some non-conforming issues that you would, that the municipality would have to deal with, depending on when the business started. It could be a pre-existing non-conforming business. If there are vehicles that are parked on the lot that aren't registered or abandoned, code enforcement can go out and look. But that's more of a code enforcement under a different ordinance than the zoning ordinance. So it depends on what exactly the business is for me to be able to say where it falls under the scope. But it sounds like it might be some type of, let me just look here, like some type of manufacturing or something like that. I can't say for sure. I'd like to go back and look. It could be a landscaping business. It could, even though he's not going out, if you're cutting wood for landscape, that kind of thing. I don't know though without looking at it.
He doesn't do the tree service anymore. He cuts wood in the boards and stacks it all over the place. And then when it rots, he throws it over the hill because minimal people buy it.
Okay, so under landscaping, under the new ordinance, landscaping businesses are permitted uses in the agricultural and then industrial, and we allow for it in the floodplain. It's not permitted in R1, R2, and C in commercial. So and I'm assuming you live in R1 or R2? So it's probably gonna fall under the bucket of a pre-existing non-conforming. And then if you abandon the business of really doing log cutting and landscaping, and he then tries to start it up again, we could possibly regulate that. So if he tries to go out and sell. You understand? So we'd have to do more investigation, but the ordinance still needs to be passed before we can do anything under that. Okay?
I also want to second what Bonnie said about the beeper. We need an emergency clearance first before, baby step in. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna butcher this, and I apologize. Mike Camilo?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I just came to speak about the parking in the yard. We have a camper, we do park it in our yard. It's the only place we have to park it. It is something in the neighborhood that many people have done before us and have done, so buying this large expense. Knowing that we are allowed to use our land to store it, we have already bought it, so we would like to continue to park it there. I understand people want to keep the neighborhood nice, and there should be restrictions, but I feel as long as it's in good shape, it is registered, insured, then we should be able to store it there. If it's falling apart, something like that, just rotting away, then I understand that, it should be, some action should be used or something. 2021. I mean, clean, registered, usable should be able to store. That's all I got.
Put their project reports in there. How you do a project report? No.
Mayor's report?
I think you all received a copy of the police calls and the zoning ordinance. Calls that make sure you get me the dates. Okay. Picnic tables and benches were delivered and installed. Basketball systems have not been delivered yet. I don't have a date for those yet, from Jeffrey and Associates. And the attachment, the sweeper attachment for that truck was received, and once again, thank you, it works pretty good. So, that's all I have.
That's it. You've all received a copy of the treasurer's report. What are the wishes of council?
I make a motion to accept the submitted.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. You all have received a copy of the tax collector's report. What are the wishes of council?
Make a motion to approve the tax collector's report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. Committee reports. Buildings and properties? Oh, okay. Sorry. Community betterment, Parks and Rec? Oh, that's straight out of line. Personnel and Finance?
We'll be going over that on the agenda.
Okay. Community outreach and communication?
We have, they have, we're running back there, running to be later, or early in the next year.
Okay. Planning and zoning?
The McCurdy Cabinet Company has received their approval and work order to build what we see out taped on the floor. His goal is to have it for us before Christmas. We're crossing our fingers, maybe before our next meeting. Sound system came in day before yesterday, Monday. Yesterday too, what is today, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday, yes. So that's here as well. I have my engineer come down, he's gonna take a look at the pieces, make sure it's all exactly what it's supposed to be, that kind of thing, and then find somewhere where we can store it and just leave it until he's ready. It'll come out when the cabinets are all built, so that we can pull holes into certain places, install the system, we'll be on our way. The other thing I did receive back was the work order for the sign. Did that go out?
Which
The
sign?
work order for the community sign, the big one in the corner.
I didn't know we approved anything.
Yeah, we did. We approved it to pay for it out of our funds.
Yeah, but I don't think we chose any sign or where to put it.
Yeah, but we approved it by
Smart sign.
Smart Sign was the CoStar approved sign company, and that went through our meeting. We approved it to be paid for in our funds.
I got you. I don't believe that we finished the discussion on where it's going to be located. I had thrown it out there that I talked to, and now I can't remember his plan. Somebody help me.
Tyler.
Tyler, thank you. That he had not gotten back to me. But we talked about putting it over at the Sandy Hill lot or this lot, so that's something we're gonna have to figure out tonight.
Well, we can't figure it. We have that on the agenda, I believe.
Just the ARPA funds, so that's what we'll talk about it under.
Okay, because I had all the information that you were thinking about. The other issue is, you've had, all year long, we've had this issue with being able to account for our planning and zoning budget. And, I'd like to have a meeting, Mr. Lucia, if necessary, to go over that. We want to be able to know at our meetings, what's going to be coming out. We didn't get a profit and loss this month from last Monday's meeting.
Christine, is there something out today? Okay.
Okay, you know what, that's human, that's no big deal. I just want to make sure that we get this system down so that
Well, we were
when I go into meetings,
sending you what we sent last time, the year-to-date and the 1 month snapshot.
yes. There's a couple things. Your computer brings up everything as January through December. And yet, for example, the one I have in front here, it's in the 7th month of the year. So its title block, I guess, needs changed each time, month to month.
Well, no, because it's a year-to-date.
It's a year, it's not year-to-date.
It is year-to-date.
It
When
says
we
on
print
the
it-
top, it says on the top, January through December 2024,
Correct.
and it was for July.
That was the
Year-to-date
that's
would
the
be January
year-to-date
to
through
July.
July.
Yeah, but that's
The
the number
budget
on there.
is,
but
the budget
title-
is January through December.
The title block says it's the entire year. So in other words, you can't pull this up unless you do some homework to find out what month it's for, where I don't
Well,
understand.
that's why we started sending you last time, the separate 1 month, plus the year-to-date.
Yes, I don't understand. I don't understand how that, if you're gonna prepare a profit and loss, don't you have to put a date in it every time you do it, or is that block permanent in there?
Some of the stuff in QuickBooks is permanent, when
Okay.
it pops up the report.
So in that line, can you take out, even take out the January through December, so we have a date there?
No.
Because there, you can't take that out of there.
You have to have something in to tell QuickBooks what you want the numbers for.
Okay, so when you wanted it through July, how did, you know what, we probably should do it outside of here, this could take a while. We're just looking for a very simple printout of where we opened the month, what the expenses were from who, and what our balance is at the end of the month. And then we go into the month.
So you just want the 1 month each month?
Yeah, we can do each month. It's okay if it's total, if that's what your system does.
I mean, if you want just each month, we can give you each individual month. But you're not gonna have a comprehensive year-to-date. If it's July, you're just gonna get July, it's the end of July. You're not gonna have a January to July unless we print the other one.
Yeah, which is fine too, to have both. Because really, what we're trying to do is simple. Next year, on this budget coming up tonight, we're cut by $6,000. And I do understand that it is anticipation for an ongoing debt debt. But we have, for what we have to finish for next year, we're gonna have legal and engineering wiping us out pretty quick if we're not very careful of what we're doing and how we're doing it every month.
Just, she said she'll work with it, just go down and see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we can do it there.
She'll figure it
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Public safety and public works?
Nothing that I know of right now.
Old business. Discussion and or deliberation and or official action on adopting ordinance 602-24-04 related to zoning, also known as the Manor Borough zoning ordinance, and replacing chapter 27 in its entirety. What are the wishes of council?
Make the motion that we pass it as prepared.
Chuck, may well, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, we get the question, I have a couple too.
No, it's not questions, because we had comments at the public hearing with Bonnie's comments in the grammatical errors. Do you want to add that to your motion? Bonnie's changes at the public hearing as well as
I said that question.
Okay.
if
So-
that's what you want.
No, that's right. I will make the motion then.
Bonnie Dawson's comments.
To accept the Manor Borough zoning ordinance as prepared with changes that may be made from Bonnie Dawson's clarifications in the ordinance.
Do I have a second?
How do we know? How do we know?
So I got questions and I know how it works, but, you know, we have a lot of questions out here about the yard work.
I want to address some of the questions. We got to get a second, and then definitely we can address all of that.
Either we get a second or we don't.
No.
So, and then we can discuss.
So if we second it, then discuss it, then we just don't vote on it if we don't like the answers, right?
You can do that.
We can do that.
Right. All right, then I'll second it.
Okay.
Or they
And
add
then
here.
let me make a statement before you guys all start talking. Council has an opportunity at this point, you know what was stated at the public hearing. Now at this point, you can adopt the ordinance as the motion was made with Bonnie Dawson's comments and typo errors included in the ordinance as presented. Or you can indicate that you wanted to go back to planning commission, or you can open it up for another public hearing, or you can make changes and adopt it tonight with additional changes. So you have 4 different alternatives of what you can do, and council, you can choose how you want to move it forward and how you don't want to move it forward.
Majority of people are against it. So how do we move forward, we stand at this moment?
So the options are, one, you can adopt it as the motion stands. You can deny and just go through and deny it. You can go through and send it, and decide to send it back to planning commission to have them look at additional things if there's something that you want them to look at. Or you can open it up to public hearing again. And then once you have a public hearing, you close that hearing, and then at your next council meeting, you adopt or do the same process.
So to get to any one of those, we have to vote no.
Well, no, you can have your discussion now, but I want you all to know your options of how to move it forward. People called me and had questions about how we can do this, because you've indicated you have questions about this and you're not sure about something. How can I get either my issue rectified in this ordinance or get more public comment about that issue? Those are the ways you can do it. 1, send it back to planning. 1, have another public hearing. 3, you can just adopt it as Chuck voted or made his motion, or you can deny it. Those are your options.
But we would,
Right now, we're to discuss.
correct.
Correct.
And after the discussion, we would have to vote on Chuck's motion though, correct?
Absolutely, you have to and then you can do whatever you want if you decide. You don't want to move it forward now, but you do want it to go back to planning, or you do want to have another public hearing, or you don't want it at all.
Okay. So, discussion, comments or questions?
I'm ready.
So I
Here's
got a
what
question.
I think before we get into tons of questions or even addressing all the issues, let me explain this. This has been in the works for 2 years. 2 attorneys were involved, including our solicitor. And the reason behind it was, first of all, if you remember, not too long ago, we put in a new zoning map. And the reason why is, when I got here, it was one of the first things I wanted to address, because the zoning map included making a commercial business district that was designed to put the bus depot in. And when they constructed that, they put a wide net because they had otherwise spot zoning going on. So they had to change it so that it had enough property in it that it could pass the test of not being, it's a rezoning, not spot zoning, which is illegal. So they drew a big line that came all the way up to this area and across behind the American Legion, and it took in residential properties. From the day they did that until we changed this map just a year ago, those people could not legally sell, convey, mortgage, anything that a lending institution or title company would deny, because you had a residential house in a commercial district. So they got what they wanted, they got a bus depot, but they took out a whole lot of properties, and since I was here, and even before when I was sitting in the audience, people were coming in all the time saying, I can't sell my house, I can't mortgage my house. Council would be giving them a waiver on just their property. So now, a few of them here and there are taken care of, but it wasn't enough. The rest of the people sat back wondering what's gonna happen to me when I go to sell. So that was the first thing, to get rid of that map and rezone it back to where if you bought a residential house in this town, you're gonna be back in a residential district and you're not gonna have that fear. So we went back to typical, normal, today, common zoning districts. Not a made-up district that hardly anybody has. So we cleaned that up. In order to do that, though, the zoning ordinance was made predominantly in the 70s. Some of it was retyped, and a couple of things changed in the 90s. Either way, the biggest problem we had was our zoning ordinance was not enforceable. If somebody came into town and wanted to put in some, well, in our case, a lot of people brought up about how come there's 3 pages of adult businesses? Without those 3 pages, you could have had one sitting right in the middle of your town under the lights of the gas station and the car wash.
Oh, shame,
So
shame.
a lot of municipalities came along over these years since the 90s and zoned a lot of the descriptions of what they were, what they could have in their area. And I brought in our zoning solicitor and had him, he spent a year constructing the bulk of this ordinance to get us legally compliant with today's ordinances, so that if we do have a problem like that, our solicitor goes to the a magistrate or court and has to fight it, and our zoning ordinance says, you're not up to date, you can't do anything about it, it's in it. Then what would you do? I personally don't like the idea of being so vulnerable. Once that year was complete, it came to our solicitor here and the planning commission. The planning commission took this thing apart page by page, by page, by paragraph, and as you see with the amendment, by periods, question mark, everything to be in its correct place. So that's how we got to this point. Actually, I'm pretty happy that the only real thing I hear about in all of this 100 pages, by bringing us current to any other municipality, is one issue: parking in front yards.
Well,
That ain't all of it.
What ain't all?
That ain't all of it.
Great exaggeration.
Solicitor
The
Dice,
only thing
may I
I've
ask
heard
your
is the fact, let's put it
question?
that way. If there's more out there, isn't, when I got here, everybody was complaining about parking.
Nobody was.
Parking in the front yard.
That's part of it, not all of it.
Well,
We need more discussion.
We can't just speak.
We do need to get more discussion.
It's not we had an issue with the tax, but we can't just speak again.
So, I think
How does
we're
that-
back and forth.
Really, your adult porn business you were describing.
hold on. I don't want the back and forth.
Yeah.
If you have a comment to make, please make it, because I know Jim wants to make a comment. Terry looks like he's looking to ask a question.
That's a new one.
Exactly.
So please.
Association.
Well, that's it. Let me wind it up with this. 2 years going to the county, having it sent to the county. 90 days ago, it was presented, 120 days ago, it was presented to council to get up to date on it. And we beat this up to get it to be legal, and everything that we heard along that way that was a problem was addressed. So a problem here tonight can be easily fixed. If there's an issue with this, call an amendment. If we have an issue, or maybe 2 or 3 I don't know about right now, that are real issues to this, do we take a few issues and throw out an ordinance that keeps us compliant where we haven't been since the 70s or the 90s? So we get ourselves compliant, We have the legal avenue to move forward with further public hearings, even after it's accepted. So, how do I say this? If you had an automobile and you fixed everything on it, but still wanted wheels and tires, make sure it passes inspection first, and then do your last thing that finishes you off the way you want to be. So, reality is accepting this and opening the door immediately after for a public hearing if you want it. Any kind of further discussion, amendment can be done to that section of this ordinance. So it's not like this, I don't want anybody to think that this means this is coming in here and day one, someone's gonna show up and start enforcing everything in it as if we're gonna need a triple police force to do it. It's not the case. Everybody here knows that.
So we have to prevent that.
Jim?
Where's the state of the ability to prevent that?
Yeah, well,
It's involved.
obviously,
Where's your checks and balances?
It's in the law.
Hold on.
No outburst.
No.
so my question is, obviously for them is the parking in the yard.
Just remove that.
Or can it be rewritten to where, you know, like I
Like if you
said,
wanna say, vehicles are permitted that are registered, that are
like
insured.
a temporary parking, like they're
We
saying,
could-
it's,
If you're having a party.
Yeah, you could do something with temporary in nature, you
I
could,
think if the police officers know that it's a permanent type thing, then that's not allowed, but if somebody's parking there and it's being moved every day, be allowed.
I mean, you could write it that way if that's what council
As long as
wants.
it's registered and insured, it should be allowed. You've taken legal responsibility for it.
Hold up, please.
So I agree with them in that aspect, if, you know, it could be rewritten like that. That's one thing.
Jim, can I answer that for you for a second and add to that?
Yeah.
Where this came from was not from Manor Borough. We did not sit in planning and create this parking. This parking came with the ordinance prepared by Mr. Falco. We didn't sit here and change that. So it's not like we have a fingerprint on it for vehicle race. We can amend, yes, but here's the thing. That came with it because other municipalities use it for this reason. Automobiles have, when in the front yard, especially in the fall, hot catalytic converter start at 5. And when that happens, somebody else in the state, somewhere else, decided that, or excuse me, there was a lawsuit of some kind. It made the court system, it got back to the solicitors came forward and said, you gotta minimize that possibility, so we have to put a zoning ordinance in it, and they came up with this ordinance to get cars off of grass and get them onto driveways. So what we have here, it just came along with everything else from Mr. Faltovich because he's the guy that keeps his head so tight into
I
zoning.
get it, but we also allow fire pit.
Yeah,
So, I mean, when is it, listen, everything that we try to do is try to make everything nice for the borough, right? And they're asking for it, and if it can be done, I think we should try to accommodate.
I am not against it. Don't get wrong with it. My point is only that amending it allows the rest of it to do its job. Amending it for a parking issue is not a big deal. I really don't, what I see is simple. I see one of the residents said about the vehicle in the front yard on jacks, we had a breakdown here for how long?
Right.
Okay,
So
that's the
should be
kind of
allowed.
thing that you want to get rid of.
Right.
Not, yes, somebody has to pull up in front of their house to unload their groceries. Surely the police are not gonna do that, but it's better to have the ordinance say that they can't. So I don't see any reason why we can't reopen that door, amend it, and put in there what fits, as long as you remember, we can't let the car that is in that bad a condition downgrade the value of their neighborhood.
Agreed.
You let a rat house behind my house, don't you?
Jim, are you done?
Well, I just had another question
Yeah,
on the
please.
private garages. how we came up with the 550 square feet.
We did have a discussion about garages. The planning commission went back and forth with how large they wanted garages, and we described, the gentleman, I believe earlier spoke about a 2-car garage, 18 feet wide, 2 feet in between, calculating that. And there was a lengthy discussion at one of our meetings, as I recall, about garages. But again, I don't remember all of it because we had so many meetings about it, but that was absolutely discussed.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, if you do a 24 by 24, right, because the cars are big, if you have a truck, you know, you probably need at least a 24-foot garage to get it in. That's 576 feet. So you'd have to get a variance.
Does that include the driving?
If you remember, this building
Yes.
inspector / zoning officer brought that up a while ago about, I think right now as it stands, you don't need any type of building permit unless it's over 1,000 square feet.
He does.
Okay.
He
well then-
said, that's the current. But he had recommended that it be reduced to 500
He did.
feet, because that's pretty much the standard.
Taking
UCC put that.
Yeah, UCC standard.
Put it on the fence
That's gonna be.
in the front yard.
I mean,
Because
if
you're
you
not
check your
asking us
vehicle's
how
pretty long,
we
trucks are
come
pretty
to
long, I
council.
mean, to get it in the garage.
Meeting,
I agree.
Realistic.
special
So,
meeting,
I mean, so then here, we
to
just,
see if we can't get something changed. That's
what I'm
kind of
reading
what's
is you have to
confusing
get
me
a
here.
variance. And over a certain foot instead of a permit.
That's for a detached garage.
Yeah. So, I just
Actually, the
think
point you're
that,
making makes even more sense because typically the detached garage is bigger than the integral.
right, so I just think that maybe that should be a little bit bigger than 550 feet.
What do you think it should be, Jim?
At least,
What do you,
Until that's what comes and says they want it there.
well,
It could be a third
a 24 by 24 is 576. I would think at least that,
That's minimal.
what's that?
That's minimal.
Right.
Double that, you might have somebody who has more than one vehicle.
Well, if you have a detached garage too, you usually put that extra 5 feet on for walking inside of it. Like an integral garage, a lot of times you open the door to get in there, and you're in a car a few feet. Where a detached garage, you actually have a walking area, you store in there, all kind of things get done in there. So it's probably not big enough to get 600 or better.
That's only for a 2-car garage, my houses have 3-car garage. Definitely, if that's for more analytics, but just a limit, just like 3-car garage.
you'd have to get a variance.
I'm glad to see I'll never get
If you work
arrested.
on cars, if you
Against
own
me
glass
again.
cars, do
Yeah,
anything like
I'm gonna
that.
get into
I'll never get charges against me
Build your
again.
assets.
Car salesman.
And him over there waffling.
Build a little
He drives this town
car
crazy.
dealership over here. I like that.
So, Jim, you said over 576, but what number would you be recommending? Is there some number?
1,200 or more.
25 by 25.
6 1/4.
6 1/4, okay. I'm just,
I think 650.
That'd be 25 by 25, which is
I think it's 1,200.
well, right now, and
Listen to those guys up there, they don't know.
commercial
crap, they make
and
that stuff up.
agricultural is 1,200, and R1s and R2s is 550. So we want to go, you said 650?
That's
I'm just trying to
25
make a
by
note, so
25.
Yeah. Yeah.
800, compromise, 800.
You gotta factor in too, if you got somebody that's handicapped that's gotta get in and out, they gotta open the door all the way.
You're not even close to that.
Every car is different, you got long doors, you got
Yeah.
short doors.
Please, let us speak.
Yes, sir.
Let's find out what's gonna happen before we start losing our minds.
That's good, we're just trying to have a
Well,
conversation together.
You know, the key
Well,
is,
it's overwhelming.
the that really is the land
If,
itself.
is this his first time in a meeting?
We're not trying to talk over it.
We're looking for a logical
Try to
conversation.
do the math.
We don't have them here at council meetings, sir.
Those of us who have to do
You
it.
guys can move on, I'm gonna try to do some math in the head and I'll come back to that square footage.
Okay.
Terry, did you have any questions?
Well, I don't know if it'll do much good. I got through 82 pages of this.
and I got pages of notes and questions. We're gonna be here for a long time. My recommendation is, and this is just me, my recommendation, I think we need to table this, we need to have some kind of public forum or discussion or something like that. Yeah, but that was before the public was going on, and now we got a whole bunch of people here in the public that have a lot of questions that wanna ask us, and right now, we really can't ask us the questions because we are in council. If we have some kind of other meeting, special meeting, whatever, where they can speak and add to the conversation, then maybe we can get.
Was you not at the public meeting?
I was, but hardly nobody showed up because everybody complained.
Oh, I just saw
Because everybody
something.
complained, nobody knew about it. Now suddenly everybody found out about it, and it's a different story.
Listen, I think you all know, I'm the first one to support the idea if the public isn't involved, we shouldn't do it. But at the same time, we have 3,500 people in here in this town, and a dozen people with questions, we should address them. But if we have already followed the criteria put on us to go to the county, to advertise public meetings, to have our own meetings, we had a year-long planning commission meetings, nobody came to those.
Were you
But if
looking
there's a lot of
People do
information
love
about
ordinances, or
and
you
they're all
fixed them
public
what they,
meetings.
what
So
you
in other
already
words,
have?
You did not advertise them long.
Because you're on them.
yeah, they were.
No, they weren't.
Well, if,
I think that
will
you,
we ever get anything
Yeah.
accomplished if we don't
Yeah.
first go
Thank
down
you.
the legal procedure we're supposed to do, and then amend to address, so that we, again, stay within the legal procedure? The solicitor will tell you, we step outside of that, we miss something along the way, she can't defend it. Which if she can't defend it, you know who gets screwed? All of us. So if you have a ton of questions that just came up now, after all this time, you know this has been out there, and I spoke about this at almost every meeting this year, about where we stood and what we were doing. And now, in the last hour, if you have all these questions, I don't know where they've been. And did you know, I would have, and in fact, at the last meeting, I pushed this back an entire month because you personally said you never read it.
I never got a copy of it until then, until I requested it. Most
Well,
of us online could never
Since
read it.
it was on the agenda, I mean, the reality is, I don't know how I can understand that after all this time to never get a copy of it. They were always out here. I had sat here with copies this thick for how long? And now I took the last meeting and said, okay, let's push it back a month to give you time to read it. And now all of a sudden, we have all these new issues because no one's telling the public the reality of all this. This is to fix a major problem in the town. Now our job is
See,
that,
now I'm
yes,
getting pissed.
fix that. If tonight is the night all of this showed up, because in the public meeting it didn't, and then, yes, we can fix it, but we amend it. You just want to throw the whole thing out and say, well, let's put it aside. You're the typical government guy that says, do nothing and nothing will be effective.
No, that ain't it, no. No.
Forget hate speech,
Listen,
I understand what you're saying.
he's
I
not
don't think you
doing
do.
Yeah,
No, he's not doing that.
I guess I'm frustrated about for 2 years, everybody knew this was coming.
No.
And here we are at the 12th hour at 12:30, and now we have more to do with it?
Well, I have a couple questions myself, because at the public hearing, I don't know, so Bonnie brought up about the fence in the front yard, am I correct?
Yes.
Did we ever make a decision on that?
No.
That night?
No.
The way it's
Okay.
written presently with no fences in front yards is the way it goes.
So then, when she asked that, it popped up in my head, well, she's on that commission.
Yes.
So was that not talked about in that?
We
Okay.
need the public at our meetings.
Hold on, let me
And
finish.
that way okay, I know I'm out of order, Tony, but we need the public
I agree.
to attend the planning commission
agree.
meetings. And this should all come back to the planning commission. And I'm finished, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
You're okay.
Thank you, Tony.
Can I respond to that?
Hold on, let me give my points. I usually don't but this one I
Well, you brought me up
I know
into
I
it.
did.
Okay.
So the other thing that we talked about was, and this is why it's hard for me, because my wife owns business here. We talked about Sunday operational hours. Did we make a decision on that?
Yeah, but we can make those decisions here tonight.
You can talk about it.
We are here, we have a living, breathing document.
Send it back to the planning.
Well, that's what I mean, I never saw that.
You were supposed to come back this month.
Decision.
Your discussion last month, you got to come back this month also. I don't care. Well, I think
So what's
everybody's
another
supposed to
month?
get those questions to the solicitor.
I'm not pushing anything, I just said we should
Go on.
correct.
And that never
I got a question, hang on, can I ask a question? Why can't we table this and discuss this with the change, with what they've said, right? Take their information, go back, sit down and take a look at it and see if there's changes that need to be made.
Because you got an old zoning that gives zoning
But
maps
is
that
that
doesn't
gonna-
even comply with it.
But is that gonna change
All he has
anything for
to do
another
is not
month?
sign it.
I mean, honestly, I'm asking this question seriously, is it gonna change anything? Because no one here can make a decision right now of what they want, why would we pass something and then go back and amend stuff? Why not
Here's
just
why.
pass it one time?
Here's why. Tomorrow, a lot of things can be applied for before we pass this. Do you know in most municipalities that have any kind of activities, when developers, I'm one of them, but I don't do this, but a lot of developers, as soon as they hear about a municipality changing the zoning, doing anything different that way, they run in, they get their application in on the books.
Great, but you know what,
Because they're gonna fall under
but that's
the
not
old
happening, that's not happening.
That-
We're-
yeah,
we're
that's
seeing
not
that.
happening.
I mean, if this is the most people I've ever seen in the meeting, and I haven't been to many of them. I'll be the first to admit that. Prior to doing this, I didn't come to a ton of meetings, I read online, but this is the most people that I've seen in a meeting. You have all these people that are upset with some things in this ordinance, right? Table it, go back, let's talk,
Get more data.
and then re-present it. If there's things that need to be changed, change it. Because if you're gonna present something, in my opinion, present it finished. It's not gonna please everybody, but if there's this many people upset with so many different things in here, then fix it first, and then present it. Don't go
Again, I
back.
made my motion because I only heard one thing. Now I know of two things that can be fixed here tonight.
I got 4.
Okay, I do want
And
you,
Dawn has 4.
Chuck, I want you to hear,
Because I'm gonna vote nay,
okay.
so I'm letting you finish through.
Chuck, I do want you to hear that now that we have this ordinance that's pending, if an applicant comes in for something that we didn't have in our old zoning ordinance that is addressed in this ordinance, we can require them to satisfy the new zoning ordinance, even though it's not been adopted, but because it's pending, there's the pending ordinance doctrine, that they have to satisfy the requirements. So if someone came in for a
Yeah, but I
medical
don't get my
marijuana
fence.
dispensary, which you guys did not have in your current zoning ordinance. Medical marijuana is a big moneymaker these days. They would not be able to open a medical marijuana dispensary
Yeah.
in an R1 or R2. They have to follow what our regulations are and our zoning ordinance. So we have some protections because it's already in the process and because we've already had a public hearing. And in fact, we've had an application for a group home that has to follow, we've done letters that have to follow this ordinance. Even though it may get changed a bit under a group home, they still have to follow what's presently published out there as a pending ordinance, so you know. And with respect to what I said from the beginning, if you table it, and I think this is what Mr. Nemec was talking about, if you table it, the audience gets to come in for public comment on agenda items, they get their 3 minutes. Whereas if you have a public hearing, the audience and the public gets to speak until you end that hearing, and you can have those conversations more so than in a forum like a public meeting. That, a public hearing allows for that conversation to happen.
Solicitor Dice, are we allowed to come to
I agree with
planning?
you. We already have it. You are absolutely correct. We did do it and we advertised properly.
Can we come to a planning commission meeting and
If we do
speak?
get this back to planning,
Yes, we're always,
what are the steps from that
Yes.
point?
So
For
planning
an
would
ordinance.
hear,
Yes.
I think what would be helpful for planning is if you're gonna kick it back to planning, you give them a list of, this is what we have concerns about and address it to make a recommendation. You don't have to send it to planning. I think planning members are here would like that. If you're gonna send it
Yes.
anywhere, I don't wanna speak for you, but I think if you're gonna do it, then they want to have the baby and fix it. That being said, it goes through the same process again.
And the public can come to those meetings.
Absolutely, and
Thank you.
And I want everybody here to know that those meetings have been published since January of last year. We haven't changed any of them. In fact, we've canceled some, but we've never changed the date. So those have been published, and they will be published again in January. And Chuck has already indicated we're trying to do it the Monday before. It just depends on what Monday that may be.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I want to be able to, if I can, Chuck, you made a statement that to everyone on record that those people made the motion to, accept the central business district. It actually came from the planning commission as a recommendation.
Wait. I don't know what you said. I don't understand what you just said.
When you first were talking to the, our residents, you said that this all came to be because of a CBD district just to get busted.
It did.
No, it was actually first brought to the planning commission. The planning commission voted on it, and by majority, it passed to recommend to council to create this new district.
That is,
I just want to.
well, that is exactly what happens on every issue. I don't understand your point.
Well, because residents.
Council has the last say-so to do that.
I
So the
understand.
designers of that plan just ran it through the system.
Mhm.
Okay,
I'm done. Thank you, Mr. President. for
Yes.
giving me-
Yes.
did you think it was the right plan?
Okay,
Don?
I'm done.
I'd like to talk about this. So, we do have a motion. I think we need to take a vote. So, and it's gotta be a roll call vote, right?
Yes, sir. When you're ready.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Gockel?
I have to abstain.
Okay, I didn't get your form. Ms. Lynn?
No.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Dornan is not here. Mr. Dornan is not here. Mr. Nemitz?
No.
Mr. Vaca?
I'm gonna say no, just so we can amend it.
So I have 3 noes, 1 yes, 2 abstentions. I'm sorry, 2 absent.
Yeah.
1 abstention, 2 absent. 3 noes, 1 yes, 1 abstention. And 2 absent.
Okay.
What is this time, Mr. President?
So motion fails.
Correct.
Motion fails.
What are the wishes of council?
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we can get the corrections and incorporate our public,
So Ms. Lynn, are you asking to have a public hearing on it so that the public can come in and, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry,
I just want to verify, because if it's a public hearing, we'll schedule a date for a public hearing, we have to publish that, and then the public can come in and we have a court reporter, or do you want to just table it for council? That's what I'm asking.
Or kick it back to.
Or kick it back to planning.
Kick it back.
I'd like to make a motion to have a public hearing. Because it's already been kicked back to county by the county commission. So,
When did it go back to planning?
no, I'm saying it's already.
It came from
been
planning.
addressed, right.
But I think some of the planning people have heard some concerns.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, but you have a motion, is there a second?
To have a public hearing.
Is when the court reporter.
Court reporter, what we did,
What's the other?
or to go to the planning commission, or adopt or deny.
You can go back to the planning, right, and then have a special meeting
That would be a
afterwards.
public hearing.
Your corrections.
Have a special
Okay.
But that
meeting,
still involves a court reporter and all that
correct.
stuff.
And then it comes back to you guys at the end of that, your next meeting.
Who will have the availability to speak at that hearing?
Every one of you.
Do we have to pre-register?
2022.
And at what time is that hearing?
Hold on.
They're figuring out whether they want to have it or not.
I'm gonna ask
Keep
you.
talking,
And we
keep
gotta get
talking.
Do I have a second for Dawn's motion?
Repeat the motion, please.
She wants to have a public hearing.
No.
I think we need to have some kind of public hearing, so yes. Something.
Is there any further comments or questions on the public hearing?
Did Terry second this?
Yes. Look, I don't usually speak, because, you know, the president doesn't make motions, I don't do that kind of stuff. I think it needs to go back to Congress.
I agree.
That's my opinion. That's only my opinion. I can't vote on this because there are things in here, understood, that affect me money-wise.
Understood.
So, I know, yes, we're gonna roll call.
It's a short cycle.
Go ahead.
So this motion is to table zoning ordinance amendment and schedule a public hearing on it. So, Mr. Gockel?
Abstain.
Ms. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Cherry?
No.
We have two members absent. Mr. Nemitz? Mr. Nemitz?
I'm thinking, give me a second here.
Mr. Nemitz?
You said your motion.
No.
Is that a no?
No.
Mr. Vaca? No. Okay, I have 3 no's and 1 yes. Motion fails.
I have another one, Mr. President. Something that will solve this whole issue is, again, adding more time onto this thing. And that's this. The planning commission in January should hold its public meeting for this purpose. I've talked with the chairman, vice chairman. There'll be no problem with us doing it in our January meeting. It can be a advertised public meeting for this exact same thing. Because at the planning commission, we set up a little different. We set up with an open forum that just let them speak.
Correct.
And,
So,
that's probably gonna get us to that point, but this will give us from now until that meeting to take all these questions
correct,
and in advance get them to us.
correct,
That's me, Tyler, the solicitor, Bonnie, Patty,
correct.
we're always around. Get them to us to get that discussion, to minimize that, so that we can solve a lot of those problems. Because you can't come into an open forum like this and deal with 30 issues, but we surely could address them ahead of time. So it gives everybody
I'm
over
getting
60 days.
I'm getting it there. So you're making a motion to take this back to council or the planning?
To plan,
So what's the motion?
making a motion to put the zoning
I'm putting your phone on.
ordinance back
No, I'm just kidding, I wouldn't
Plan.
watch you.
to further action.
Okay, so how does the public, I'm gonna write email to each one of you guys on the fence.
Sorry, gentlemen.
It's okay.
We got a roll call this, you ready? Get your pen ready.
Mr. Gockel?
I can't. Abstain.
You can.
Now you can kick it back.
I don't think
Yes.
Ms. Lynn?
Yes.
Sorry. Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Nemitz?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
And the same thing with the public.
Would you please explain to us just what the result of that motion was?
It's gonna go back to planning.
He's
Planning to
supposed
look
to
at it. The
tell.
public can come to a planning
Meeting?
It's open to the public.
Yes,
Voice more of your opinions there.
and we have
But
an
it's gonna
open
come
forum.
back to
No,
present
no
back to us.
outburst.
In January.
In January, We
Yes.
don't
No
have the
outburst.
exact date yet, but we
No
will, it'll be
outburst.
published in the Penn Franklin.
It doesn't say
with all
that
of
because
the
we
No,
let
no.
everybody speak.
Yeah, I know you do, but they don't hear.
Well, we're talking about planning.
Yes, I know how planning is good.
Tony, well, exactly what you're talking about, that was the next comment, is that the public should do the same thing I just said to Terry.
Correct.
Get their questions, concerns, a page or 30 pages in writing, drop it off here at the municipality, or go online to the website and email it to anyone on the planning commission. All the names are there and the email addresses, including my own. And we get this thing down to just those issues, because some of them may be just not understood. And solve as many along the way as we can. And if the same person who wrote it agrees, I'm now down to 3 things, not 20, those 3 things may have to be discussed in a public meeting. And in our December meeting, we'll discuss it, just to make sure we can do it within the same date as our January meeting. And that gives us time to prepare that, and it gives us 30 days to get the advertising out, let everybody else, and I know that the Facebook page continues to have little conversations about it. Well, they should know that, keep their eyes open and look for it. Those dates will come out.
Joe made a good point. Can you make all the comments and questions to one email so that it's all compiled? So you're not trying to draw from 5 different places and maybe things get missed. Or someone can't be there, maybe make a checklist since you're on the planning commission, or make a bunch, whatever. But one person to be that dedicated.
Our secretary for planning commission is Bonnie Dawson, and that's what I would recommend.
I mean, if you guys are, that's just a suggestion.
No matter who gets it, they're all.
She's the most organized.
Yeah, but if you start getting to like, there's, I don't know, if you have
Conversations.
different questions, a little different, if you can compile all in one person, it's a lot easier to bring them to the meeting that night.
I'd rather hear it from the people
We set up, everybody,
at our meeting.
everybody shows up.
I don't want it on paper. I
Now,
don't want it on
Bonnie,
paper.
is Bonnie Dawson's email address on the website?
Correct.
It is.
Then its recommendation would be that, once the date is set, when we're gonna have this meeting,
Thanks for coming.
that it be put on the
Thank you.
sign out there, so people can see when they drive by.
They're always on the sign. It's on there every month.
Okay.
Most people drive by and never see it, Joe, you know that.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's on the sign. There's a calendar on the homepage, like a monthly looking calendar on the homepage of the webpage, that the meetings are on there, whatever date they are, and the day before the meetings, in the planning commission case, it's normally the Friday before the agendas are posted as well.
I'll tell you
It's
now,
always
probably-
Monday before the council meeting.
Okay. All right. Are we
And
gonna
you'll
move
be
on?
ready, and we'll be ready to vote at this table on the 15th.
Okay.
And anybody that should come from the council should come. And if we have to separate everybody so it's not a council meeting, we should do that too.
All right. Discussion and or deliberation and or official action on the American Rescue Plan funds.
Here we go.
I'm not asking what the wishes are because we have a conversation to have.
The only thing I wanted to mention is Mr. Goggle asked me to list some pricing on things we had already discussed and things he had asked me to look at. You have that memo in front of you. And just a reminder that we have spent $7,644.60 from the American Rescue Plan funds on the sound system.
Okay.
So we have a remaining balance of $343,475.90.
Oh, you just
All right.
violated,
So
you
just-
just,
Because we did say we were gonna buy a side.
huh?
Later.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Had Joe to, call Smart Signs and look at the Sandy lot, or Sandy Hill lot, as a place to
You
put
give
this
me
up.
money to library,
Okay.
and food bank, I'll shut my
So-
mouth up.
You have a
I think it looks,
And the people,
I think it would look better there.
I gave the
More people might see it there.
huh?
I gave the library $10 tonight.
That's just my opinion.
20% overdue fee.
So that's kind of why we sent out the
I could
second.
give done
I'll
that.
tell you this, we discussed
We
it
talk
Monday,
about Kevin Funky.
because of course, Tyler's the
I
one
gotta
that's
stand up. Time to stand up.
And,
Well,
It-
thanks for not giving me any credit, Sean.
well, no, you started it. So we had the meeting about it. You weren't there for us to throw stones at. No, and it came down to a couple of things. First of all, I think that would be a very nice look on Sandy Hill. But we have come up with a couple of potential real problems. That is that, the idea was take down the signs we have, put it in a V in there, no matter which way the three roads that come here, you'll see it. We're talking about doing it under ARP money. And for it to be on ARP money, we already discussed it here and there about, in an emergency, that sign has got to be activated to discuss that emergency. Just enough flashing light, however we decide that it's done, the message right on it, what it is. The bulk of your traffic comes through that intersection. People up and down Sandy Hill come through there much more than they come from Harrison City. The ones coming from that far in Harrison City predominantly live outside the borough. You have, if you put it out there, your traffic count in Sandy Hill is less, and if there is an emergency, anyone coming into Manor Borough on 993, the state road, won't know the emergency, and the people in the old part of town, they're never gonna know. They're never even gonna see that, because the majority come out of this Legion, make a left. A lot, if they make the right, are they even gonna see it coming down? Yeah, it's on Sandy Hill. So the idea is, the sign is for emergency purposes first. It's a welcome sign to the borough, and if we're using ARP money, we gotta support the fact that it's for emergencies in our town. So if we had the money to put 2 up, that'd be a different story. I think that would work. But our traffic flow is this intersection.
What about all the people coming down Manor Harrison City Road?
Oh,
Sandy
jeez.
Hill Road, because majority of the population.
We had
in the borough
emergencies
lives
where
on that
people
side
didn't
of
eat
the
and
town.
couldn't pay their rent, but who gives a shit? We'll just buy a sign.
The
Have you done
majority of the
traffic count
households
to
are on
see
that
which
side
way?
of the town.
When you have an emergency, it is those coming through the town, right?
I'm saying the majority of the people live on that side of the tunnel. Most of the emergencies we have in Manor involve flooding, in which case you can't get through the tunnel anyway because it's flooded. So the sign,
That's happened
The
once
sign-
here in 35 years.
I mean,
Once.
it's happened
Uh-uh.
3 times since
Yeah,
I've
I've
been
got
borough
those for
manager.
you.
Yeah,
Only once divided down here.
3 times, yeah, okay. And, but I'm just saying, I mean, we do get a lot of traffic coming out of Westmoreland City. The majority of that traffic goes towards Harrison City. And then you have about 4,500, the last traffic count I saw from PennDOT, about 4,500 cars coming down here to Harrison City. They generally turn on Sandy Hill Road.
New housing in the hills.
3 hours down here.
How many?
3 hours, it
What
seems
about it?
like. There are so many cars there, and when it's backed up from
But is that traffic
from
flow?
the tunnel all the way past Westmoreland City.
Not the complicated, but is that traffic count
Yes.
going to change in the next 5 to 8 years when the slip ramp goes in Penn Township and those people that are coming off the turnpike?
That's in minimum 2035.
About 8 years, 8 to 10 years.
2035 is their
It's not
goal.
that far.
But I can tell you, I go home Sandy Hill Road every day, and I've sat on Sandy Hill, backed up.
Halfway up the fair.
That gets all the way
Yeah, it
out.
sucks.
Oh, yeah.
So I get what you're
Traffic
saying,
in all
but I think
freeways.
It's the same either
Under
side.
that bridge is a big choke point.
So,
I know Joe Hill from.
You gotta keep it, I mean, if it's for emergency purposes,
For information.
the reality is, if you look at, even looking at the map, the density, even on the other side of the park, they'll never see that sign.
Boy, your money's gone.
When I talked to
Goodbye.
signs that
need more than
he
one
looked at the
sign.
location.
Yes.
When he looked at the location, and then he asked me to have him look at it. The sign is gonna be much bigger, 4x8 versus 3x6. Gives you linear sign face. And he, this is him, not me saying this, that as soon as you start coming out of town, you'll be able to see that 4x8 sign. And when you're coming into town and coming down Sandy Hill Road, it will be visible from a much greater distance than the V-shaped sign that we still don't know how far out of the PennDOT straightaway we're gonna have to put it, or the current sign.
So the current sign is? You were landscape now?
Right, it's tucked back in against that
No,
hill.
no, we're landscape now, not back there. You look at the
At
sign.
that point, what is the sign going to tell you?
Well, anyway, that was just, I just wanted to mention.
Nothing.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think on Sandy Hill? It is going to be the goal, the overall goal of the sign. Because the overall goal of the sign, in the very beginning was, Manor Borough was going to pay for a new sign. When the ARP money came along, I don't think it should have changed the idea of the sign, just that it, how it would be funded.
Would you
But
consider
the
a
idea
sign
was-
being an infrastructure?
It has a permanent Manor Borough on it.
Mm-mm.
It has a
No.
permanent section on it for council and planning meetings. And it has the abilities to put whatever else the borough needs on that sign. But it also, through a marketing company, is to be marketed to, and I don't want to put really a name on it tonight, but there is one out there that manages a ton of these. And they have the list of all of their advertisers. They contact them and see how many of them will also take on our sign. It's gonna it's gonna easily raise the revenue to pay for itself when we were paying for it. Remember that plan in the very beginning? So now we're still gonna have that income coming in.
You can't.
But you're gonna take government money
How
to the
many
people.
advertisers
He's
actually,
wrong. He's
when they look
wrong.
at the sign, would they want to pay for it down here? Or would they pay for it in the residential?
You can't, I mean, you can ask that rhetorically.
Yeah.
We absolutely don't have the time, nor do we, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, we have to make a decision. I get your argument, and I get what Tyler wanted to do originally. I absolutely get that. I just happened to drive this way all the time and thought to myself, Jesus, we have a nice lot here. You know, why can't we put it here?
And again, my reasons behind that was traffic count.
Well, and like I said though, I drive that way all the time. I do. I sit in traffic every day.
Chuck, do you know the traffic count that you're referring to? Is there a number that you
PennDOT
have?
has them, but yes, it's always been known.
But you don't have that distinct number.
But I
I would
know.
tell what the traffic count is coming down compared to what it is coming from the other direction.
No,
You're
I don't
referring
have-
to what you're seeing there, because it's a three-way stop sign and a bottleneck, you have every bus coming through there trying to get to the bus stop, or to the bus garage. You know, is it, you know, you think it's more people coming down? I mean, you know, do we have a,
Coming down
Joe
like
come up
that?
with a number of
Yes.
4,500 people in how long? In a 24-hour period in that area there, you know, what is it in the other direction? Give us something to weigh, you know, to compare to.
Yeah.
You're just
When you got
referring,
that number, you could have got that number.
I don't know, you're referring to a number, that's why I'm asking, like, do you have that, so that.
I
something compares.
said the number of cars coming down 993 is
From Westmoreland City.
from Westmoreland City that are out that are out in the whole town. And that, to me, is the higher traffic count.
But you don't have the traffic count, just like a concrete number saying that, hey, they're getting 5,000 cars coming down here compared to 4,500 coming this way, to show that.
Did you bring that number in here tonight?
I'm asking you, you're the one that said it, not me. So I'm asking you for that information, just like that, you should have it.
You're not here. You never heard my comment then.
I've heard it, and I'm trying to understand.
So you want, if you wanted.
I'm asking if you had that number, that's all I'm asking.
All right, then why don't we table another conversation, and we'll wait until we get PennDOT numbers, and then we'll start this again.
You're the one that said it.
You don't believe it? Just say that. You don't believe it?
It's not that I don't believe it, I'm asking, so the argument is.
Oh, yeah, you're joking. I don't believe you,
So that
Joe.
there's, okay, it makes sense to go there than over there. I agree with what you're saying, that, hey, if there's more people coming this way, it would make sense to go in that, where the old sign is. If there's more people coming this way, then to me, it would make more sense coming from that direction. That's what I'm asking, to try to get that information, pull it from you, so that everyone else then can share in that, say, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Again, what made you think I brought all that information?
Because you said you don't.
I came in here to discuss this as what the planning commission discussed on Monday. That's all. I didn't come in to be questioned by you about how many exact cars are coming from where.
Well, you're the one that said it, so that's why I'm asking that question.
Hold on.
Sorry.
What the hell?
That's what everybody else thought.
All right, listen. Basically, what we're asking, we got 2 spots. Okay? The guy looks a lot happier on Sandy Hill. I'm just saying. Come on.
Let's just get those signs.
Well, and here's the deal. The wishes of council, the wishes of council. If these guys want 2 signs, then we gotta figure it out, but we gotta do it tonight. Because I'm not waiting again.
Mr. President, may I ask a question?
Please.
Okay. I found out on Monday at the planning commission meeting that there's going to be advertising for other businesses outside of our area.
We have talked about that.
Okay. Did we ever make a decision on that?
No, I don't believe we did because
Taxpayers.
I think we need to seriously sit down and take a look at. I honestly don't believe we should be advertising
Someone's business.
political. Well, I'm
But if it
not
don't, then
worried about
it's
political
80,000.
stuff.
Well, right.
Most municipalities have a digital sign.
Policy, which we will have to discuss.
But it's to pay for a sign.
Okay.
You know where you're going, but that's money that could be used somewhere else.
We're
What
saying.
if they just join 911 and when there's a
What are the wishes of?
come over your phone like everything else?
Jenny, you sound like you have a wish.
Because they
I wish we could end this whole.
there's a lot. To join 911 management.
Tony, can I ask one simple question? Just because I don't know.
If I let you do it, then everybody else has got.
I just have one, I think most people here want to know. What the hell is the purpose of this sign?
So, we have that old sign,
Yeah.
right?
The one that everybody drives by and everything.
Correct. Okay, so then people come up to us and say, well, you didn't put this on the sign, you didn't put it. Well, most people drive by, I drive by and don't even notice it anymore.
Okay.
This is a sign that's not gonna be, you're going to notice it.
But it's, you're putting it in a place where the train tracks, like that's the right term. The bridge for train and everything else. That's a blind spot that.
Well, and that's why we're having.
That's why everybody drives by and doesn't notice it.
But that's why we're having this conversation. We gave 2 options. Tyler had, his very first option was there.
And it's a V-shaped sign.
Correct. But I also thought to myself at one point about the Sandy Hill lot, which is why we put it out.
So to make it maximum effective, if I would be logical about this, you would want to have 2 signs. One would be 2/3 would see it, or the other 3/5 see it.
That's what council's gotta tell them.
I mean, would that make logic? You would want to put one on one side of the train trestle where it's coming through season, whether it's from Harrison City or down Sandy Hill. I sold it. And you would want to put one on the other side, where it goes down from Westport City going out, and everything else. They see it. You would want to have 2 signs, right?
Listen,
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I want to know, is my brain was better. It was just everybody else, okay?
All right. So what are the wishes of council here on this?
I'd say Sandy Hill.
I think it is the same issue as the other one. Send it back to Tyler.
This is not,
And then give
hold
them the
on. This is not a planning issue though.
Well, no, it's Tyler, it was his
But
project.
Tyler and I we were conversating. That's what I'm saying. We don't need to give this to Tyler. We have the options. We have Tyler's options and this option. We just need to make a decision. If we wanna do 2 signs, we have ARPA funds, let's do 2 signs. It is what it is. Do I agree that there's a lot of traffic over there? Yes. Do I think there's a lot of traffic where the guy seems very happy? I do. So, you guys gotta tell me.
Fine, I make a motion that we use up to, not to exceed, $100,000 of ARP money to install 2 signs.
Is there a second?
For the what?
Hold on. Is there a second for that?
You got 40,000 on one.
49.
None of that includes the election.
That's not what we talked about.
That's on the,
Wow.
that's not, there's already meter there.
Sonny, Sonny, do you get a vote on that?
The motion covers 2 of them. It might, the 2 together might just make it 60,000. It's a motion for cable.
Chuck, that's not what we talked about.
Waste of money for signs.
140.
I mean, I can understand, there's more traffic here. When you get under that
But I
underpass,
like where you're going.
gone. I went to the president of the council, Sandy Hill.
Set the second one off to the side if there's other things that are more important first.
Tony, that's not what we talked about with that sign.
If there's leftover, then.
I'm going to have a cigarette before I say something that he has to be cut.
Yeah, but not, but we have signs on the table.
Right.
And in essence, you want to bring some other reason to spend the ARP money that just might get in the way. So you want us to, during our sign, to hold this door open for
I
that?
thought it was, you know, no, never mind.
And you just said, the thing on the question on the table, I made a motion to satisfy the question on the table. It kept coming back from everybody as 2 signs. I made it, I said 100,000. So I'll redo the motion. I'll make the motion to do it for $75,000. It may not cost anywhere near that, but it's satisfying the question tonight.
We never talked about $100,000. Am I wrong? No, you're not wrong. How can we say that?
Chuck, the 2 signs together are gonna be 80 signs.
Okay, I'll make a motion 90,000 then. Pick a number.
That's the thought,
That's
the way
right.
there's 60 flat pole for the same.
We're just talking about buying the signs, more signs. Correct, that's what we're talking about?
Yeah, 5 signs. I'll send the electricity in the wire up, I don't care.
Okay, Chuck has a motion, I need a second.
No.
If there's no second, what are the wishes of council then? Motion fails. Oh, I got to call for it 3 times. Is there a second? Sorry.
Oh my God, they made it. Stop.
Is there a second for 2 signs? One at Sandy Hill, one across from the gas
2
station.
signs.
With park.
I'll second.
Okay, so what are the wishes of council?
I make a motion, we do the sign on Sandy Hill.
Which option?
No, which option?
We have 1 or 2.
I asked 3 times.
Can't even do one. So
Did you get that, Christina?
I said it. Sandy Hill.
Which is the double-sided one, correct?
Yeah.
You talking about the $46,000 one?
You don't want to exceed number, or just purchasing the sign?
Well, it's 49,050 plus the electric.
Yeah, the pole's roughly 2650, yeah.
Yeah. So,
You're talking about this one, Jim, just so we're clear.
yes, that one there.
This one here.
Which one is it?
Okay, so that's option C.
Very good.
Yes.
4x8.
That's what he wants, and I'm agreeing with that.
I'm gonna say, Tony, we've never seen any pictures of signs.
you don't care what
Either
you
Dawn
say.
or Terry, they both said at the same time.
Whichever.
Uh-uh.
Any further comments or questions?
Does this need to be a roll call?
It sounds like it should be.
I just have one question, is there a not to exceed amount? You don't know the actual cost other than.
You made the motion.
Oh, no, I have to say something.
Can I
We've
just
never
say
seen
that
pictures of
49,50 plus the electric?
Did we?
You can say it that way, yeah.
They have a couple versions, but we have.
That
You
includes
should see. But when does it pass the sun?
Your
But
second.
it
right
moves,
there.
that's the planning commission.
Yes.
Okay, let's roll call vote this.
Mr. Gockel?
Yes.
Ms. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Cherry?
No.
Two sons.
Yeah, Mr. Nemitz?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
We have 4 yeses to 1 no, the motion carries.
Tony,
Yes.
if these things are discussed prior to, or any reason like that, why do we waste all our time to get to that?
Nobody
point?
discussed it prior to, Chuck.
Yeah, but if everybody knew about it, and it was leading that way, why do we spend half an hour on a subject when some here already know the way it's gonna go?
I did not know which way it was gonna go.
Well, I mean, you could tell by the way it went so easy. If it was known ahead of time,
Listen,
in
to
any
be honest
way,
with
somebody should make that motion early and save all the argument about it.
I get it, but I let everybody else argue, right? So,
Well, we just did a public and all, has to sit an extra half hour no for no reason.
all right, we still have money to spend,
Some kind of, oh, shit, I got another one.
so.
Yeah,
Does anybody have any? I sent out a list of ideas that Joe has provided here. Does everybody have a copy of that?
yeah, let's hear it.
You know, I threw out doing a second pavilion down at the ball field or at the park. Restroom, the precast,
Carport.
hold on. The precast restroom, rehabbing the park bridge.
No,
There's another pavilion that I thought we could take a look at the upper park. Obviously, we talked about the digital sign, and then security cameras at the park as well.
no.
So, does anybody have any other ideas? Does somebody want to make a motion?
Yes,
Somebody-
yes, you do. By the end of the year. You have to, or they'll lose it.
One comment on the security cameras, we did have a little bit of vandalism in the park.
You can't.
You can't do that.
Somebody took a knife and carved into that, glider thing. over
Access like that, it's
Like
first
that.
realization, okay,
Cameras,
we're getting
I think cameras might not be a bad idea over there. That's just me.
I love it, I love it.
Where would the video come to your office?
I would imagine it would be on the same unified, thing, we unify app.
What are you pissed about?
The office, the police station.
So it'll be microwave or something, like that, Bluetooth.
It would go from.
Wi-Fi up to here?
It would go from the building over, we'd have to sync up a pole.
Yeah, okay, like we talked about once before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it would go from there over to the other pole that's already there with the box that we already included as part of the park project. Because that was the long-term plan before, this board, this current board received to put cameras in and everything. Because of the investment.
Now, I assume they'll have like night vision too, so you'll be able to see at night.
Yeah, you'll be able to see it.
I think that we should just have National Guard down there with dogs. We don't need cameras.
I'll give you a comment about the bridge.
Listen, I just was throwing ideas out, Chuck.
Yeah.
Don't think,
No.
I'm not saying you have to do it, it was just I was looking to spend the money.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but not on the people, not on the people though.
Something like that in the park, there is no question about it, that bridge needs, if anything, the handrail top is beat by the sun outside of the covered portion of the bridge. Last year, at least half of it was already replaced. Let me say this, putting vinyl railings all over that thing for $90,000.
Holy
Pressure-treated
jeez.
lumber for
Oh, come on
$50,000.
now.
We can build a whole new bridge, and you don't need a new bridge. It's a steel suspended bridge on concrete pillars. That lumber is not bad.
Okay, I'm gonna get
It
arrested
is just
tonight.
the
Make
top
sure you got the
handrails,
handcuffs up.
and most of them were replaced and restained. The stain is soaking into the new lumber that was just put on. It needs restained in those areas. And the exposed walking area. But to put this kind of money into that bridge, it's way over the top. Way over the top. So that is something that I would suggest. Take another look at it, because it's, you build a house and set it on those pillars.
$351,000 on stuff you can't spend it on.
Anybody have any ideas?
$90,000 for a railings and chair. $50,000 for some.
I'll make a motion that we do the cameras and the utility.
I'll second.
No,
What's that
I
say?
did try to get an updated quote, but this quote's over 30 days old, so the new quote didn't come yet, and it may be a little higher, so I'm anticipating a lot higher.
So I'd say not to exceed 15,000.
I'm ready to do that for that.
Yes, yes.
Just did all the math.
I know.
79 now. Okay, we have a first and a second. Any comments or questions?
Is this a roll call?
I would think all this would.
No, I didn't hear the motion. What did you exactly you put in?
The cameras and the pole, Jim said.
Not to exceed that.
Not to exceed 50, because the quote is 30 days old. So it's like 60 days. It's probably gonna come back a little bit higher.
Because someone vandalized something.
Or
Vandalized it more than once. Okay. They busted into that thing
Okay,
numerous
any
times.
further comments on this one?
The concession stand thing? Oh, yeah.
You're gonna do what?
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Broken in on a regular basis. Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Nemitz?
Yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so I'm not a mathematical genius by any stretch, but it looks like we have about 279 more to spend. 274, Jim? That's why you're the finance guy and I am
I
not.
got 279, 420.
I have 279 to 425.
Oh, okay, I didn't add, Jim added $5,000 to the electric, which,
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
Well, that would
nice.
make sense.
Why don't you make it 7? So it could be gold
I
plated.
figured you'd come and help do it, that's why.
Thank you. I'd be glad to. Any service to you, my
On this
friend.
list, this 4950, is that the first one, the first sign, or this is another second sign?
First,
that's the Sandy Hills.
That's the-
Yeah,
that's
option
the same
C,
one?
Sandy Hills.
Yeah, see. Okay. So look, we, I
Different
threw out some
government
options.
ways.
Somebody else has something else, let me know. Let's try to get this figured out tonight.
Yeah, Tony, you said we're gonna have another special meeting and we never had it for people.
The new bathroom.
Did they get
Somebody's
new
got it.
name signs
I
because
was
I
going to
agree.
motion before the motion
I think so. I
to,
read it.
um,
There's nothing wrong
go
with
with
my eyes.
the
I never
Food
paid
House Restaurant
attention.
for the park.
Imagine that.
Is there a second?
Put the streetlights back.
Oh, please buy it, please buy it. Because I want to file a complaint against it, because you can't do
I'll
it.
make the second.
Okay. Comments or questions? I will tell you that Bonnie sent me Bonnie Dawson sent me some stuff about alternative bathrooms from there. I got it about, I don't know when you said it, but I got about 15 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah.
So I did print out, actually, I asked Joe to print it out. If somebody wants to look at this, let me know. I just know that if we do a bathroom, we gotta know by next month, no later.
We do know that the one we already priced and spec,
Can I see it? Tony?
Yeah.
went over there with the engineer, will fit where we're trying to put it, given the easements and things like that.
We should, if we even go that far tonight to say to put another bathroom in there, we still should go to the bid.
What's a co-star's?
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if we
You
have
don't have
time.
time, you don't have time to
We don't
write
have time
a
to
bid
go
spec
to
to
bid
go
on
to
this. That's
Why,
why
we don't have to spend it by the end of the year, we gotta spend it next year.
You have to
We have to
have,
have it in of what we're gonna do by the end of next month. We have to spend it in what, by the end of 26, is it?
You have to have, correct, however, you have to, when they say, the obligation, it means that you have a contract
Yes,
with
you
somebody
do,
to
Bonnie.
spend that money. And
By
so you
December
can't put it out for
31st.
bid, because you don't have time to even get the bid out, let people bid on it, and open the bids, and have a meeting
Don't tell them
to
that.
accept one of
You
those
didn't
bids
tell them that.
by the end of the year.
Well, I can appreciate that.
That's, but you have to actually
that-
obligate, it's more than just, we wanna go out and buy a bathroom, or we wanna fix up a bathroom. And we're gonna use this entity, but we don't know how much, you have to actually obligate it. To have it, that's the problem. And that determination came out this fall, telling all municipalities, they came down with that thing. When we say obligate, we mean you entering into contracts.
Oh, she did her homework.
Okay, so I make a
Oh, shit.
motion to
Tony,
approve getting a precast restaurant and a price at
he's
10 cents.
acknowledging you.
Well, it's Johnny's
I
gonna
had
shake
another
his
question
head.
about it.
Get your.
Let me see,
Don.
let me see if there's a second first, so we can.
Oh, I thought you had.
well, Jim said,
Oh, Jim seconded it?
yeah,
I'm sorry, I did not
he
hear.
seconded Don's motion.
Go ahead.
Okay. Dawn made a motion, so I guess she knows, so I'll ask her. Is this one stall or two?
It's the one we've talked about.
No, wait a minute, I'm talking to Dawn, she got made the motion.
3C.
I don't have it right in front of me tonight.
Well, if you made the motion, you should know what we're bidding on.
All right, listen.
I did look at it last month, and I did say I wanted to go with it then again. So I have read the material.
Okay, but I guess,
I'm not able to pull it right up this evening in my brain. I believe it was
Green flush.
okay. The one stall for female and one stall for male. That's what I had made motion with last month also. I had been thinking it, but you just keep doing things like that, but okay. Yes. One female, one male rooster. Precast.
What about people that don't know if they're a boy or a girl?
Go in the woods.
Well,
That's a joke.
That's what they do now, why
If
put
you
it
don't
in
know
the
what the hell
bathroom?
you are, go in the woods. Like it
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, so I found that company pretty easy. And they do have like a vault system that doesn't require sewage to be run to it. And so it's like one part is for the waste that will then get pumped out however often. And then like you fill the fresh water on the other side. And that also means that the bathroom could be open year round and be heated. So I know that that was brought up.
We still have a water line going on the line for the sinks
No.
and stuff, which we couldn't leave on year round.
No, that's not what the sales rep told me. He said that it's like, it's all piped inside.
It's all self-contained.
It is all self-contained, yes.
A clean
So-
water tank and a black water tank.
So you-
How you get the water to?
He said you could fill it with like a water buffalo or even something as simple as a hose. So it's, I think it's definitely something that could be looked into.
There's no water on in the park in the winter because the water line will freeze. So we would have to actually pay someone to truck in water when it needs filled with fresh water. You have
Like,
to pay
true,
someone
but-
to take out and you would have to pay somebody to come out.
But
and
you're
do
already
the sewage.
poo-pooing this, this bathroom without talking
I'm
to
not poo-pooing
anyone.
anything, I'm just saying about the water.
So there's also a really neat digital comment card or something that's included where people can say, hey, it's out of toilet paper or whatever. And then also there's a monitor so you know exactly how much waste is in there and how much water is there.
It's much easier to connect it to public sewage, you flush it goes.
And we don't,
And we don't, it would be the borough sewage system, so we're not gonna charge ourselves a sewage bill.
Not to get into the cricky though.
So just another time of where you just
Yeah,
shits on whatever I
Yeah,
say.
Joe, Joe, that water line, that you say is not
You
deep
know what he
enough, that
does.
it'll
I
freeze.
know.
That was put in by, Bob Stevens and Bill Powers. I was just told recently
I
that
don't know who put it in.
that's who put it in. And they, well, not they, one of them, said specifically, they knew what they were doing back there, and they definitely have it deep enough. So if you don't know who put it in, how do we know it's not deep enough to be left on?
Because the Public Works Department, ever since I've been here, has told me it needs shut off in the winter and it'll freeze.
Well, Bob Stevens was one of the guys putting it in, and my
I don't-
understanding
I
from the
don't
other
know.
guy.
I mean,
is the other guy that
I
freeze
did not know that Bob Stevens was one of the guys putting it on.
It's
That
a
building over
pizza.
there has been there since the fifties.
Yeah,
I'll
and they
buy.
replaced the water line.
Bob hasn't been here since the fifties.
They replaced the water line.
Well,
So we need to know that, if that is an issue going forward, issue, because, you know, bad freeze that was unexpected. Is it really gonna freeze, or is it deep enough?
I don't know if the water line would freeze, but if it's piped into that bathroom down there, the bathroom's gonna freeze.
Well.
You'll be eating at midnight.
That's not really impossible.
if you get an
It's
unexpected
just like your
freeze,
house, once the water gets in there, you got insulated, non-insulated.
Well, that's what I mean.
And you got push pumps.
if you get an unexpected freeze early in the year, generally it will not freeze, because the ground hasn't got cold enough to freeze. So that's not even
My point is simple, I don't believe that water has to be turned off according to the installer.
You're on phone, it was on.
Well, without heat in the building, it does. Without a doubt.
That's what I'm saying. We
Yeah.
talked earlier about rehabbing that, it included heat. So, that's it.
All right, any further comments or questions?
Just one thing, I would like to make sure that even if we're spending this money now and we have to get this done so quick, then I'd like to take a look at the design of this, because there's nothing in that park now that matches itself. It's not even a park now, it's more of a collection of different buildings. And is this one gonna be just one more of those? I don't even know what it looks like, it's the first we got, first time we got a design of it, has that changed at all? It's just a steel building, it's just another steel building.
It's not a steel building, right? No, I didn't think it was.
The stone exterior halfway out.
Yeah.
As it tucks into the hillside, we have the.
Do you not have, we all had a copy of that at one
Yeah,
point.
I didn't bring it tonight, but that was mine.
Welcome to Manor Council.
Okay, any other further comments or questions? Terry, you were intently looking at that, my man.
Yes,
Any
I'm
comments?
interested to see what it's about.
He's just waiting to get his pager.
Some people take the time to read things. It's not a bad thing.
All right, you gonna roll call this?
when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Mr. Gockel?
No.
Ms. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Cherry?
No.
Mr. Nemitz?
Yes.
What are they taking?
Mr. Backer?
Yes.
3 yeses, 2 noes. Motion carried.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
To put
To
in,
purchase the precast restroom for the park.
For how much?
The last quoted price we have is $157,000.
oh my God, jeez. Government waste, you guys are all Trumpers.
For a toilet.
For a toilet, yeah. When Mr. Chair could have fixed the other one.
Is the one she's proposing, is that a handicap bathroom?
Who knows?
Yes.
You guys probably built the code today.
Yeah, is it handicap? Sleeping in here? And you?
All right, just so you guys are aware, there's still 116. Give or take.
They're spending all this money before they even do the budget.
Yeah.
You can make the residents happy, you're giving them money.
Real quick, Johnny, you quoted, something for residents, you know, to be able to get something back to residents.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that number?
That was at,
2,500 residents, $100 a piece.
Well, no, but we have.
You had said
More than
2,500,
that.
$500.
Almost 36.
Go ahead.
I had originally said about 299,000 and then taken like 1,000 off for administrative expenses. And then my original estimate would have been around 120,000 a resident, but since my number was off.
120,000?
Oh my God. $120 per resident, but my number was off, so that's probably gonna go down to, I don't know, like 90 to $100 a person, and then the remaining could be earmarked for Manor the remaining could be donated to the food bank to be earmarked for Manor use.
Thank you. Well, now you only have 116,000.
And then can I ask you a question?
Me?
Sure. So that motion was just for the bathroom, but that didn't include the money for the site prep and all that stuff? So then where would that money come from?
That didn't include installation, that motion. That was the buy. It didn't include installation.
Well, that was that purchase price includes them delivering it and setting it on site.
On what?
On site.
What's on site, you set it on?
Well,
You pour concrete?
you would have.
You bring the utilities up to the concrete before you put the building in?
I did bring it.
Okay, who's doing all that?
I did bring all the
To
stuff.
be determined.
That's what I'm saying. That does not.
But I mean, the price
That's
for the
not even
building,
what we just did.
the
We have
price
a.
for the building includes the delivery and then setting the building on your site to your hookups.
That's my
What's
point.
that one for the money?
If that's not in that
Did you print
bid,
out that one for the
where are we
money?
gonna pay for that,
For
the
the cash
installation?
assistance?
It's yet to be determined.
I don't know what you're asking me.
That bid isn't all inclusive, it's way too much.
It was in the
Well, if I remember
CFR.
right, didn't we get some outrageous number of 60,000 or something to prep the
They
land?
told you how to do the cash assistance.
Is that what that was a couple of meetings ago?
To distribute to.
Well, if you're still planning on buying the restroom, they're not gonna bring it in and park it on the grass. So I think we need to discuss the installation of what you had before was $60,000. I think that needs to discuss too. That's what's it, like we originally talked, closer to 250.
Well, it has to go up. Have to get it to allow the same kind of work.
Yeah, but my point is, if we're here discussing this art money, you guys gotta have that number. Because we just piecemealed that out. That should have been part of that motion, was to buy it, install it, put the key in the hole, and it's done. So now you gotta pass another article. Exactly, a third of that first off. With steel in there too. We talked about all of that.
Yeah, I think I looked. He is cute.
So he does bring up a good point. We're not, the installation of this, I know running the water line, running the sewer line.
Capital expenditure money, we got money there.
Okay. I think that's what's up with that.
We got leftover,
Did,
Everything has where the money comes from.
so basically the answer is capital expenditure. All said and done.
You correct.
We don't know how much it will be because a lot of it's gonna be work that our guys do.
You guys don't understand what a project consists of.
You guys currently have a sewer project going on, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And ARPA funds can absolutely be used towards investing in sewers.
you already got
And
money.
if you cannot figure out what else you want to use the money, I absolutely recommend either you follow through with Bonnie's plan or put it towards the sewer fund by next month, so that at least you use the money
Okay.
instead of giving it back to the government.
I'd say give it back to the residents.
So I just want to throw that out.
Thank
there.
you.
can
Thank
absolutely
you.
use it towards your sewer project.
Did
So
you
if
print
put it
this
into
off?
sewer fund, that's all we can use for.
Yes.
Correct.
This is what tells you what the money
It's
was
ARPA
being
funds
spent
that can be used
see
for
that.
sewer maintenance.
Right.
You tell me
You
if there's a
definitely
damn
have
signs in
project
there.
that's greater than $116,000 that you owe money on. So you do have a project that you could put this on next month. If you can't figure out something else tonight, that's my point.
Did I miss anything in the
Yeah.
conversation about the bathroom?
We did, so I asked Jim where
Okay.
the site prep money would come from.
Yeah.
We have money left over from the Cameron Drive sewer project, we have interest earnings, and we have capital expenditure.
But why don't we just put it right here in the SARF money? Just put it right in the same place.
Then this is how they
We
do
don't know what
copies of how they
it's
do
gonna
a
be.
sub-award.
That's
Get
probably
money
not.
to-
Then anything that's gonna make any sense is you move this money to the sewer fund. And can the sewer fund pay to do this work?
No, do what?
So I mean, so realistically,
Huh?
we just bought $160,000 install bathroom.
Yes,
And the taxpayers
yes, they
of the town are
did,
getting this out of our money.
$267,000.
That's that much of it is our taxes. But now we have to pay for all the installation. It sounds like some of our grant projects that we have to pay 50%, but we pass it because we're getting half free, but we're still paying half the money. Now we're putting a bathroom in, and now the taxpayers have to pay for the installation, making this again, well over $200,000 bathroom. $100,000 a stall. We sound like the federal government.
Yep, thank you, yay.
All right, we have 116-ish left. Does anybody have any idea what they want to do, or do we want to table this, and we have to have a decision by next month? No doubt.
I think you have your decision. If nothing else comes in between now and then,
We should give you suggestions.
it's putting sewage.
No.
Well, we were denied another special meeting, so what the hell do we got to say about it, right?
Sewer, you could do the bridge, you could do another song.
You got a grant to do Oak Street.
Yeah. I don't know who the hell you guys think you're bullshit. Does it say sign in there for emergency purposes?
Maybe
No.
not a sign.
It says in here for communication, anything.
Communication, yes. Police radios.
What up?
Use the ARP
911
funds
communications.
to purchase.
Terry's page, oh, you
a
forgot
like-kind
Terry's pager.
Cost sign as the one you already approved. Excuse me, wait. We still have the one that was originally done on the bottom of 993 there. That V-shaped sign, we still have that number, we use that exact number there.
So that was option,
That was 40,000,
yeah.
or 39,9 something.
Page zero.
Was it like 39 something?
Welcome to the shit show.
39,970.
This is like this every month.
Yes.
Yes, in that amount. That's the money.
The motion she's making is to purchase this.
Yep.
And put it where this is at. Correct, Jeff?
Yep.
Say it again. Page 3.
That exact sign
And what
in
was
that
the line
exact
now?
place,
39?
39,907.
Holy,
Is there a second?
I'll second
Any further comments or questions?
well, show no respect for us as taxpayers. Nope.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Gockel,
Yes.
Ms. Nguyen,
Yes.
Of course you vote yes.
Mr. Cherry,
Yes.
Mr. Nimitz,
Yes.
Mr. Rath.
it. Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Of course. No, it was $271,463. For that sewer system over there, when we have 2 million in the sewer system now.
Yeah, and we'll put it on there and take the risk. We take the risk.
Okay, hold on. It's already done.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, I'm not a genius.
76.
$76,000 left.
And change.
Can I suggest that, I'm sure there's gonna be change orders over in that sewer project. I can almost guarantee it.
Oh, of course.
There already is. The rest of
Yeah.
that money should go to that sewer project.
Yep.
No,
That's my opinion.
no, I think we ought to buy Joe a new truck.
You already have over $2 million in the sewer fund. You got a grant to do Oak Street. You wanna raise our sewer rates, and now you're gonna put all that extra money in there. How much money do you need?
Yep.
Where does the sewer run from? Anybody?
Fiscal responsibility people, imagine
Where's
how
the
your
sewer
budgets
go?
are in your homes.
What do you mean, where does it go?
I mean, you're putting how much money into it, okay, what are we talking about, where is it?
What
You
street
mean
is
the
it
location
on?
where the sewer line is being replaced?
That's what you're spending money, yeah, what the hell, Oak Street?
It's on a,
So you can't miss it up there, no construction on
You already got money.
Race Street.
It starts at Race Street and it goes up Oak Street, I don't know, about 114th Street. And the other part will be on McCalvey, near the Legion. There's a storm sewer
People you all voted for.
From Mill Street to, Manor.
We don't have enough left.
yeah, I know.
No, it's 88,000. No, I wasn't.
I'm looking for a motion one way or another.
You have enough to do pressure treated wood.
You have roughly $76,000 left. And
Well, that's buying another PA system.
no, you're.
Let's give it to the library. Library asked for 12,000, give it to the library.
You can make that motion.
You can't.
Yes, you can
Yes,
give
you
it to the
can.
library.
I know they said that last month.
No, you give it to the library. Should have gave some to the fire department too. Thank you.
If we need time, 76 is a lot better for next month than what we had to begin with. I just need a motion.
Motion to set, to table the balance till the December meeting.
Did you make that motion?
And, yes, I'm making it right now.
I'll
To
second
table
it.
it till December.
See, cash
And if
transfers,
we, do
mortgage,
not have a
utilities,
viable,
food
approvable
programs.
project, it goes to the sewer fund.
Okay. We have a first and a second. You're already too late. I will suggest that if anybody has any ideas, if, send them to each other, send them to Joe, and then he can send them out to us? All right? Okay.
Huh?
Do I have to roll call over this one?
No.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Yeah. So
That's how
we've
your
already
money's
talked about
spent.
the Manor Park bathroom.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. New business.
Bring my what?
Yeah. Does
Yeah.
anybody got to be, because now would be the time before I get into the new business.
Take a recess. Give your line tons of chance to take a break. They take a recess.
Oh, they haven't even gotten to that yet. It's just that we're only gonna rest executive session.
Donna.
How you doing, lady?
Okay.
I wasn't sure who I was. I know who you are. Okay. I know who you are.
I didn't know you until you went up there. In fact, I didn't see you.
Yeah, it's me.
That's
Thanks for coming to the suggestion.
Wait, it's frustrating.
Isn't that? And I'll just come comment.
Yeah, Jerry, but I don't know.
Facebook. That's a waste of money, $100,000 those freaking cameras. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, there were
People need to start to come to
I'm gonna change that.
I ate dinner before I came.
I did not.
I'm sorry, but I drink your water, I'm sorry. I didn't have much though. So.
Does anybody else? All right. Discussion and or deliberation and or official action on adopting a preliminary budget for 2025. What are the wishes of council?
Before you, I just wanted to mention one thing, the number you have in front of you for workers' comp for the fire department is an accurate number. It is actually higher than what my estimate was. I just found out that there was a price increase when I got that.
What page?
First page. It's great. I'm sorry, it's not great. The numbers for general liability and borough workers' comp are still great because those are estimates. And, they, haven't gotten the final numbers yet. I guess our insurance company got a new underwriter, and they're a little slow.
Have you reflected that change in the budget, the proposed budget?
It's in the one you have in front of you.
So you've already made that change in here?
Just for the fire department workers' comp. It's like 12,000, I'm pulling it up now, it's like $12,049 or 12,000.
$12,479.
$479, yeah, that's it. That's an accurate number. The numbers for the borough's workers' comp and general liability are estimates. Based on last year's numbers, I do not have current numbers yet.
I thought you said 18 years just now.
I have a question about it.
Really?
For planning and zoning, your comment here is that based on the 2024 numbers, is expected to decrease building permits. Building permits and real estate activity has always been generated by interest rates and political affiliations, local, state, and federal. And with the interest rates is where they've been, they have no choice but to drop down. The results of the last election, you've got a real estate guy in there that's going to push those rates and push real estate. It's in his blood, it's going to do it. Our building permits for existing residents are going to go up.
You're a nice looking couple.
Surely compared to 24. Interest rates will be down, they'll borrow, they'll build, they'll put that garage on we were talking about earlier. So, we gotta make sure that what we're saving in this budget just might push that number.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, the revenue is projected to be down, so is the expense. So if we anticipate 50 building permits and we get 60, then the revenue's up. We also have a corresponding increase in the expense. It's just a blueprint for next year. It's not exact, and none of us have a crystal ball, so we don't know what's going to be what's going to happen with the interest. I mean, in the borough, let me finish. The borough is built out. So typically when we see an uptick in building permits is when people move into a new house and they want to add something, or they don't, like the small deck that children put in, so they put a bigger deck, or they want to add a swimming pool, and they want to add a porch. We don't have a lot of that right now because we're built out. There's no new housing construction taking place.
Good.
So this is an estimate based on what we've seen in 24's numbers.
He looks so familiar.
If we get more revenue, so we also get a corresponding increase in expense.
I agree, but your $6,000 difference
In expenses.
Right.
That's how, I mean, nothing's changed.
Let me ask you this, is there a difference in
All right, where are you going?
zoning officer expenses
Yeah, let me come with you in a
at
minute.
busier times or slower times?
We don't have an expense item for zoning officer expense.
Right, we don't, but we pay him. But he has to go,
We pay him under contracted services.
right,
When he does zoning, anything that's not associated with building.
right.
And that was way down this year too.
But did he not go out to have these early discussions with people and
She doesn't know she's
conversations he has with recently? He goes out, the other side wouldn't have the biggest idea what it is. So I'm asking you questions about something that, if you remember right, last year, everybody that was here, remember what I said about the most important thing about a budget? Year to date.
They look so happy.
I fought last year and got it. This year I didn't say a word. Wait to see what happens. We didn't get it.
You have it in front of you tonight.
I'm sorry?
You have it in front of you tonight.
No, I'm here.
He always says words.
Last year, you put them all together here, and it was on one sheet that basically says, here's our year-to-date. When
You have that in front of you tonight. You're looking at the draft budget.
Exactly.
If you look at what you have in front of you for the general fund and the sewer fund, you have year-to-date. You have the budgeted amount, the amount that was spent, and the amount that's remaining in the percentage.
So, you don't think what you did last year was right? You gave us exactly this sheet.
No, I did not.
That you did, that showed, I'll bring it in, I'll pull it out again. It showed the year-to-date, so we can determine a budget. You want us to go back.
Not on the
We
budget.
did this,
This
we
budget
did this
has
in
not
October.
changed. This budget format has not changed.
Because I complained for how long last year about, you cannot do a budget if you don't have in front of you. At that time, we didn't, except these that we get monthly. And that's what you're referring to now,
You're
correct?
not necessarily doing the budget. I, with the finance committee, sit down and do the budget. Then it's presented to you.
And what, we
with
just supposed to
information.
blindly accept it?
With information, including what you have in front of you to date from the QuickBooks, which shows you year-to-date expenses, January till today.
So, let me see if I got it right. So we asked you, an employee of the borough, we're asking you to bring us in here that is extremely easy.
I'm stuck. Yeah, fucking laugh.
She has to say that. I'm gonna tell you something. Just between me
My point is that, to simplify this budget, because we're supposed to be part of it, we're supposed to comment on it. It's been designed by the methods you've used all along.
She tried that and got nowhere.
If I have a request to do a little something so it's a little more understandable, should you not do that?
I gave you.
You gave me the same thing I get every month.
Which is year-to-date expenses.
Right.
With the budget.
Right, so if I've got to do the homework to do it, why do we need you to do this?
I gave you the year-to-date.
What do you guys talk about now?
I'm not sure what else
How to
you're
spend money.
asking. This is the draft budget that Mr. Vaca and Mr. Dornan sat down and gave me direction on this draft budget, which we did. They also had the year-to-date numbers in front of them when we did the draft budget.
So, you justify the way you put this together as, that's all right, we'll just throw documents at you, you figure it out. I know what it's like, I know how to figure them out, I asked for it last year, you gave it to us that way.
I didn't
This
give you
year,
any different budget format last year.
Yes, you did.
That's the last time I'm gonna address that.
no, it's well, you can shut up about it all you want, don't try to shut me up about
I'm not.
it. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, don't. Because the bottom line is, I asked you for simple things.
When did you ask me for anything?
I said it
You want
last
to do it
year.
tonight in front
I
of a
did it
meeting?
last year and got it. And this year, and look, I'm here about the planning budget. I'm asking you for how long? It's not Christine's fault. I saw it, looked at Christine about Christine will have to do it. I'm told, go meet with Christine. No, man, since I've been here doing planning and zoning, it's been you. And the question has always been simple. You just give us the, we spent money out of your budget. Oh, here you go. We asked for to find out who, what, and how. If you're putting money in because you've got revenue, we should know that.
How you need to get that information.
Say it again.
You were told by the solicitor, if you want copies of invoices, you need to come to the office to look at them.
Guess what? When did that become
we don't have the right to get that? We have to go through a system.
You can talk to the council president and solicitor, that's what I was.
Okay, guys, tell me why the planning commission can't get what it's asking for, which is very simple. If you're taking from the budget that we have to watch to pay the solicitor and engineer, when other monies come out of that, we wanna know what that is. And we're not getting it. So, tell me how we justify that. Our checks and balances in government.
My recommendation, what I could do is talk to Joe, get a system together, and sit down with him and make sure that an email goes out every month about what you're asking for. I think I can do that separately, outside of this meeting, make sure we get what you want for every meeting. Once it's clarified, we won't have to have a conversation again.
You are repeating exactly what I've been asking
All
for.
right,
Thank
I
you.
will sit with Joe afterwards.
So if the comment is the solicitor said you can't do it, that's not.
I never said, about private information is that you have to come into the office.
Right.
So if it's a employee issue that has privacy information.
Exactly, it has
I
nothing
said,
to
do
do
not
with this.
email, come into the office to inspect.
Yep, it has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
All right.
I wish we could go out for pizza.
Is there-
I'd buy too.
Is there any questions on the draft budget?
Call someone and get some food delivered. Leg hurting, huh?
Yeah. What are the wishes of council? Adopt this one and advertise it will be in the motion at some point.
Chris boring tonight, he's not here.
I'll make that motion.
They have to accept the budget. Boring.
Any further comments or questions?
Boring. He's not here.
We need a roll call.
I would do that, because it's preliminary.
You need to address that it's not balanced.
Oh, is there a comment?
We don't know right now our expenses exceed our revenues.
Preliminary, so as long as the final budget
Correct.
zeroes out,
Yeah.
you'll be fine. So next month, if it's,
I just wanted to make sure
They
they
understand
were
that.
aware.
Okay, any comments or questions?
Chapter
Roll call vote.
Mr. Gockel?
Yes.
Ms. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Nemitz?
Excuse me, yes.
Mr. Vaca?
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Who is that asshole over there?
Discussion and/or deliberation and/or official action on accepting the resignation of Louis Brandt from the zoning
You know
hearing
what?
board.
You should run
What
for
are the wishes
council
of
next
council?
year.
I'll make that motion to accept it as submitted.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions?
That jerk there.
no.
All that, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
I don't know if I feel.
Discussion and/or deliberation and/or official action on accepting the resignation of Frank Rivera, did I say that right?
I mean,
Rivera, from the planning commission. What are the wishes of council?
Make a motion, we accept.
yeah, Frank's not.
Do I have a
this one
second?
either.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Discussion and/or deliberation and official action on adopting ordinance 603-24-05, posting Hill Street, no right turn for trucks, combinations, and vehicles over 20 feet in length, and establishing a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on Rowell Road. What are the wishes of council?
Before you vote, I just want to make it known, I talked to Ms. Lynn today, it's a little misleading, it's not no trucks, it's the maximum of 5 tons with a maximum length of 20 feet, because that's what's stated in the traffic study. So we use the language from the traffic study instead of using the term truck. So if you have a vehicle that has a trailer on it that is greater than 20 feet, you're not gonna be able to make the right turn. So it doesn't mean it has to be a truck. That's the point, and that's why it's written that way.
Are you saying the trailer cannot exceed 20 feet for the overall length of
The
the truck and
overall,
trailer?
correct.
Combine both.
From end to end,
But
not
a trailer,
exceed.
if you're coming down Hill Street with a trailer, you're not permitted, you won't be permitted to make a right-hand turn.
Yeah, so,
Oh, goody, I'm buying a
Okay.
trailer and then I'm gonna.
What are the wishes of council?
I'll make a motion to accept, the ordinance adopting ordinance 603-24-0.
This stupid stuff.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further comments or questions?
Just one question. Shouldn't railroad be separate from
Yes.
Hill Street?
they are. So, if you look at the ordinance, there's 2 different sections under your, they call it the, I apologize, I wrote this in the chapter is traffic. And I identified, in your ordinances, you have sections, and see how they're laid out here, the name of the street between and the maximum speed limit. So railroad is section 1 under this ordinance, and section 2 is talking about the right turns off of Hill Street, prohibiting. So there's 2 different things going on in this ordinance. One is 25 speed limit, and one is, but it's all under the same section, so I did it in one ordinance.
Well, that's why I was wondering why it's the 2 ordinances.
Well, I put my email address, don't I?
Because it was all under the same ordinance when it was originally adopted, I did it under one ordinance. and then
Law
the
for
same ordinance.
being,
That's
why
why I
the
did it that way.
And then,
I'm gonna have to submit that to the planning.
If you don't want it,
I'm
you,
just making sure.
if you
that-
adopt it in totality, it doesn't matter. If you decide you wanna have this 50 miles an hour on railroad, we will eliminate section 1, rewrite the ordinance, and you could still adopt the remainder of the ordinance. So either way.
I think I know who's confused.
What?
What she's doing is, you know how you're used to doing one ordinance for one issue? And that's your concern about, we should have 2 sections there. She's amending an ordinance about traffic, things like that, in the borough. And you can list in what we're doing tonight, and different things, as long as they're all road related, and go into that same ordinance.
Similar to zoning, that's why we have 12 pages, there's all different, so it's similar.
Yeah, 80 of them definition.
Thank you.
Any other further comments or questions?
Yeah,
I just saw
Go
your
ahead.
cute little shoes.
you could bring it up, I mean, 20 feet length.
Bonnie shoes. Aren't they cute?
The Borough truck is 20 feet in length.
I need comfort.
So,
that's already.
Those are cute.
Thanks.
All this is saying is that those same vehicles that already are not permitted on Hill Street can't, if they come down Hill Street, make a right-hand turn.
Correct. They're already prohibited from going
Mr.
on Hill Street.
Antonacci did an engineering and traffic study years
No,
ago.
I'm coming
and
down
those
Hill
issues,
Street
and
because I
that's
have to
what-
get a new lift on my truck
Tony, if
from
you
the
have a
road.
trailer on your
It's
truck,
gonna make it over 20
just
feet.
a lawnmower, you can't come down Hill Street and make
Correct.
a right.
That is correct. I got
I mean, I
Tough
call
shit.
it a tractor trailer.
That's what is actually recommended, Jim, in the traffic study.
All right, I'm just,
From years ago.
Yeah.
okay.
And that's probably what, 10 years ago?
What happens is you can make it, with the utility, or it doesn't range that,
If you go too far, you go in a closing lane without. Something about
There probably should be no right turns on at all, but
You know what, if nothing else, you know, they just poured a new sidewalk there.
you know,
And the wall, put the wall up and did the sidewalk. If we don't govern that in some way, which this does,
it's gonna
you're
deteriorate.
gonna get all beat up and it's gonna be blamed on the traffic and we're not controlling it. And that guy who's gonna had an insurance company or a trucking company do all that work.
right.
Or we're gonna be replacing that sidewalk.
Okay.
If we do this, we are prohibiting it, so it's violators, it's not $10.
Right.
He's repulsive.
Any further comments or questions?
And it's difficult to get
Don't
around
so
that.
quiet.
If you oppose the traffic.
I know.
You drove that.
It probably wears.
Roll call.
Mr. Goggle?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
I don't know.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Nemitz?
Yeah.
Mr. Murray?
Because that's not the way
Yes.
I
Mr.
want to do it.
Motion carries by majority, 4 yes.
No, but I know she gets lectured.
Discussion and or deliberation and or official action on request from Cub Scout Pack 230 for the free use of the community room. What are the wishes of council?
I would make a motion that we, let them use the community room.
Is there a second?
I'll second it as long as
Of course she said
the
it.
community room is available that day.
It is. Just remember there's a $75
But-
Oh, yeah, don't forget the $75.
So,
Oh. I don't even have any papers in my purse. I don't have anything.
No
I'm
idea.
gonna start
The
having
person who wrote
stuff.
the letter is
Breakfast
borough
and
resident,
stuff for us.
resident.
Even though we're not allowed to eat in here. We got
It
diabetes,
just
so
says
we
they have a few
couldn't.
families in the pack that are
That's
Manor
what they
residents.
say in their
Doesn't say
resolution, we're not
how
allowed to eat
many.
in here.
I think last time it came up, they only had one or
But the
one or
resolution's
two.
law.
Three families in the borough
You know, they would
residents.
never let the
It
Lions
wasn't
use
like
this.
half or the majority of them. I think Cub Scout Pack 230 might even be based out of Harrison City.
I think that everybody should be.
so do I need to read the information?
So is it a cleaning fee or is it a cleaning fee?
Well, they want the room for free, but the policy is that if you give somebody the room for free, they still are supposed to be charged a $75 cleaning fee. I think last time, Mr. Zocco and Ms.
Tony
Williams,
paid.
said they would pay the cleaning.
So my motion.
Can you see when we get the new discs?
That,
They'll be climbing.
Mm-hmm.
I would like the pack to be able to not be charged for the community room, but still incur
We've got the authority
fees,
speaking.
cleaning fees.
Yeah, that's the policy, so I don't know that you have to make.
Well, they need
Well, I think they knew last year that somebody would pay the cleaning fee.
okay.
Was there a second to that motion?
I made the motion.
Very good motion.
Terry made the motion.
That's what I
One
want.
seconded.
Okay. Any comments or questions? All right, all in favor?
Is there
Opposed?
anything coming up for his page?
Motion carries.
Yes, not yet. One
Discussion and or deliberation and official action on payment request from S&E Utility Contracting, INC.
What's that?
That's the contract.
You don't know what the-
Sewer project, this is,
What's contracting for
first,
sewer project?
bill today.
Is
We
it
are
sewer?
holding kind
I
of.
wish they'd remove that sign for my
What are the wishes of council?
I'll make the motion that we pay them.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, $50,987.45.
Yeah.
Terry seconded it.
Yeah.
Any comments or questions?
It's a policeman.
Mhm.
Retired.
All those in favor?
Who, Walton?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like it here. I found out what's going on with the cops.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Think.
The motion carries.
Okay, here comes Jerry. Here comes-
Discussion and deliberation and or official action on purchasing a pager for the emergency management coordinator. What are the wishes of council?
Jerry. Can't they use 911 to get him?
I'll say this
Yeah.
much then. Back when 911 switched over to the 800 system, in their grant, they got radios and portables for all EMA directors and line officers for the fire departments, and I believe the police officers too. But after after those wore out, it's our responsibility to replace it. Now, my radio died earlier, very early this year. And the
Aw.
pager died so many years before that.
Can
We're
we have
still
a
required to
funeral?
have them. There's still a roll call that's conducted, and the county still tracks whether you have a radio or you don't have a working pager. So, yes, we're supposed to have them. That's all I can tell you.
Do we know the cost of them and the ongoing expenses or anything like that?
There's no ongoing expense. The county does all that. It's all under their system. The pager itself is a one-time purchase, and hopefully it lasts for well, at least my
How
time.
much was it?
How much is it?
$976.
$976.50.
Holy
Everything under 800 systems is extremely expensive. There's no way around it.
Terry, do you have that money in your budget?
I do.
He has $1,000.
She has $1,000.
He has
in his budget.
$1,000.
He hasn't spent anything this year.
Of course not, you don't do nothing.
It's in his budget, he only has to vote, does he?
You still need you still need to vote to spend it.
Jeez.
So I'll make the motion and we get him the pager.
And I'll second it.
Oh, she would because she.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah, he brought her down tonight, opened up the door.
All those in favor?
Walk.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Oh gee, nobody opposed it.
Discussion and deliberation and or official action on approval of Montana, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Lot consolidation.
Yeah.
What are the wishes of council?
I have a, letter from, submitted in as part of your file.
We did that.
Monday's planning commission meeting took place, and November 11, 2024, the regular scheduled meeting, Manor Borough Planning Commission reviewed and proposed the proposed Montana lot consolidation. After discussion and review, the commission took the following action. Recommend approval of the proposed consolidation with no conditions. And it is signed off by
That's all I
Planning
meant.
Commission Chairman Tyler Desmond. So that was a recommendation.
Not on the zoning hearing board, I don't.
Wishes of council?
You know, I would go on planning, but she's got a count.
That's fine, I'll make a motion we approve the Montana
She better.
consolidation.
And I'll second
Any comments or questions?
Zoning hearing.
All those in favor?
it. Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Because he's, as I said to him.
Discussion and or deliberation and or official action
Conflict of interest. He
on
said,
accepting the resignation of McLean Walton from the police department.
I'm gonna put him for zoning hearing board. Why?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or questions?
Why is he leaving?
That does not do a roll call.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
J-O-E.
The motion carries. Is there any correspondence?
Can't we keep police?
I need an approval to pay the bills.
You wanna have a long conversation about it? I'll tell you.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. There's a people you hold on, I'm not adjourning yet.
Okay. I think some of them jump on.
No. We still got two more things, Chuck. Is there a need for executive session tonight?
Yes.
I need a motion for it.
Motion to go to
The
executive
last
session.
guy was the new guy.
All those in favor?
I forget his
Opposed?
name. He's a real nice guy. I met him on election day, I can't remember his name.
The guy that is
The new
resigning.
cop. The new cop they hired, he's a Marine, retired from Pittsburgh. He comes up here, works. And what most Pittsburgh cops do is they work at either UPMC or Time Work as security guards. So this guy's working 3 jobs. That's what they do.
That's a lot.
That is. California Bob retired, so I haven't seen. He has two.
What do we return on? To the meeting.
All those in favor? Opposed? closed. Chelsea?
We were in executive session for legal and personnel, the potential litigation over signs located on Mount Pleasant Boulevard, I'm sorry, fence located on Mount Pleasant Boulevard.
Yeah, here you're getting sued. How about some more?
Citizen comments, Jerry Lewis?
Yes, sir. Am I recognized?
Yep.
My only question is, you got all these art funds, okay, which you spend them all the wrong way, but we'll take care of that later. You know, the library come over and ask some money. How come you didn't give the library any money? What?
Talking about it. Not answering.
How come you didn't give the firemen any money? How come you didn't give the people any money? But that's what it was for. Oh boy, you always get dead silent when I ask questions. I just love it. Yeah, look at that. I got 3 minutes. Do 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 do.
We're waiting, Jerry.
No, I got 3 minutes. I'm gonna use them.
Do you have any other questions, Jerry?
Nah, yeah.
Okay.
I want my questions answered. You people don't have guts enough, boy. I tell you.
What?
I know, I can't swear. I have to be nice. You'll call the cops on me. Yeah, isn't that, huh? Isn't that something, Tony? Isn't that something? You're the biggest hypocrite around here. You're such a hypocrite. Anyway, what's going on with the banner, the veterans banner? Jim?
So far, I think I only got 5. Yeah.
How many? Is that it, Joe? 4?
I have 4 people I talked to, Jim
Yeah.
said he had 5, so.
Okay.
Oh, with mine? Okay, we have 5. Did Nedley?
Plus you and me.
Did Nedley reach out to you?
No.
I got a call from a Nedley way back when.
He emailed me, wanted to know what the process is, if it was.
You interrupted my time, Mr. Mayor.
So basically, there's 5 or 6.
I take my time back. It's my time.
Absolutely.
By the way, we need ADA doors put in. I was down here on election day, and I do have a letter from the insurance company attorney, Patricia Monahan, but I'm not gonna read it right now. But the way she described the stuff on the letter, the woman committed perjury. So, we need ADA doors to get in. People get in and out. Mr. Nemitz saw me stuck in the door, and he came in the building. What an ignorant asshole. Ignorant.
Can't do that, Jerry.
Yes, I can swear. It's freedom of speech. Look it up. And then there's Dawn Lynn over there that just looked at me, that didn't even help me.
Jerry, your
Yeah.
comments are up.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. While you let everybody else talk a lot.
Sam, video?
Video.
Now that everybody's exhausted. It's only been about an hour. Anyway, thank you for,
Let's go out
Mr.
and eat.
and council for
I'll go
letting
out.
me speak
I'm gonna
today.
go out and eat.
So I wanted to speak about a property that I'm developing. It's partially in Penn Township and partially in Manor. And if you have the materials that this drawing. So I've gone through, it's an unusual piece of property because it's in 2 towns. So I have to kind of do everything twice. And I've gone through that. We're at the point now where we're about to break ground. So as part of the process, there's, in the ordinances for both townships, there's a requirement for a surety bond to make sure that when the stormwater system is being put in, that the developer finishes it and doesn't take off. So the requirement on half the property
on the Penn Township side is 25% of the construction cost. And the reason for that is because it's private property, and if I was to go away for some reason, the requirement or the obligation of the town is not to finish my design, just to get the property stabilized. So that's why there's a percentage of the construction cost. But your ordinance actually is very unusual. It calls for 110%. So that's gonna require me to do a bond. It's gonna cost me $13,000 of the bond. And this is not money that goes to the township, this is money I'm paying to the insurance company. And it's really unnecessary funds, especially since this property has cost me 2-3 times what it should have because it's in the two towns. So I wanted to ask if the town, if Manor would consider the same requirements, this is such an unusual property as Penn Township does. I think it's more reasonable because it's a private property. Now, and this property is very, like, people don't even know it's in Manor. It's surrounded, it's kind of in a little valley. There's no entrance to the property from Manor, just from Penn Township. So even if I was to go away, which I'm not, there would be very little cost to stabilize that land. So it's gonna cost me, between Penn Township and Manor, $20,000 to the insurance company to get this thing started. So I was hoping that you would give me some leniency, some break just by, just agree to do what Penn Township does as far as 25%. And you can see that the boundary's right in the middle of the property.
Guys, let me ask one more question. Did you apply for and get any of the building permits?
No, not yet.
What are you planning on doing the Manor Borough side for the indoor self-storage?
Okay, so phase 1 is the Penn Township building and that little teeny building on the Manor side. So I'll have to apply for a permit for that. And phase 2 is the larger building on the Manor side.
Okay. I only asked that guys, because there's also been in question this property. At one point in the planning commission really sounded like it was going to be the big building on the Penn Township side, and on Manor Borough side it was going to become an outdoor storage facility.
No, I never had that plan, sir.
Wasn't it originally submitted as being a venture?
Yes, in 2021, my original plan was build the Manor 3-story self-storage building first. I'm sorry, take that back. It was a Manor 3-story storage building in the back, and there was park, and there was up there was a sports facility.
Yes.
That was going to be in Penn Township, and all the rest would be parking for the sports facility.
Did
So
we not just pass specific locations on this property for outdoor storage on the Manor Borough
sir.
side?
Yes, sir. You know, there's
So with that, is there room to still put this building in?
Oh yeah, there's right where that the parking between that little building and the larger building, there's room for 35. I'm approved for 35 RVs.
I guess my question is, where is the stormwater, located?
Sure.
Where is I believe it's underground, there you do
Yes,
something
these are
underground system?
systems, right, these are underground systems. And if you look at the map, the first, as you come in from the police station there, on the Penn Township side, the first stormwater system is just in the parking area right in front of that building, towards the hill, towards the bottom of the drawing. And then the second one, this is where, the only thing I'm gonna do in Manor is there's gonna be a pipe going from that back of that large building into where that parking area is between those two structures on my drawing. That's where the second stormwater system is right there. That's the only thing I'm gonna do.
In your phase 1?
Yeah, and that little building there too.
And can you do phase 1 without doing that stormwater?
Oh, I asked my engineer that because the answer is no, and here's why. Because some of the stormwater coming off the large building, the self-storage, single-story self-storage building in Penn Township, some of that roof drainage has to go into that. It would have saved me a lot of money if I could do it that way.
And you can't do all of the stormwater on Penn Township side?
No, this is the design.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, have you ever gone to your engineer and tried to figure out, to try to get it all on Penn Township side?
Yeah, I can, because the stormwater system still has to exist on the Manor side, because we're gonna do some paving for the RVs, and we're gonna have that little building that's in there too, that little self-storage building also.
If you didn't have the building, would you still need the stormwater on Manor side?
Yes, because that's stormwater, and it's very unusual, like the maintenance of this system, first of all, maintenance shouldn't be too bad, because it's underground, it's not an above ground system. And, what's weird is that I was hoping the towns would also cooperate on the maintenance. Because, like, when I first went down this road, I said, what am I gonna do? I'm in two towns here. And my hope was that the towns would somehow cooperate, and that hasn't happened yet. Well, But- Sam, we can't, because we each have our own separate MS4 general GP13 permit that we each get. And even though that's a private BMP that you're putting in, DEP kind of still holds us responsible if you don't take care of it. As far as like the inspection and maintenance of it?
And how much
I mean,
flow is going through?
if it falls apart, I mean, because ultimately the flow that goes into that retention chamber on the Manor side eventually flows into a Manor storm pipe. So it's part of our MS4 system.
And somewhere down the road, an open stream.
Yes.
And that control is for the purpose not to flood something maybe all the way down 50 miles from here. So everything upstream has to be controlled.
Right.
So, and we are the ones that they can reach and touch, the DEP and the Conservation District can touch.
That's why we require developers agreement and maintenance
Yeah.
agreement for that system. And you gotta post an inspection, an amount of money for 10 years worth of inspections, even though it's private. Yeah, I understand. But back to the original request, the 110%, I guess is what I'd like to discuss. I think that, see that, to me, I think 110% is, if this was a housing plan, for instance, and it's more encroaching on the rest of Manor, if I go away as a developer, now you might have to finish that whole design. In this case, you're not gonna have to finish the design, you're just gonna have to stabilize the site. So that's the reason why, actually, Penn Township has two levels of that. For a private system like this, they do 25%, and for, like, say, a home development, it's 110% like you.
Yeah, it's, the detention pond itself is on Manor Borough. Correct?
Two, right, two.
Two, on Manor Borough.
No, one is on Penn Township, one's on Manor.
Give me numbers of the size of these ponds, what percentage of the stormwater in your entire site goes to Manor Borough, what percentage goes to Penn Township?
I don't know, I mean, I don't have an engineer with me. Did we ever get a revised construction cost since you changed it again for that? I know you're saying what it's gonna cost you and it's 110%, but did we ever get a revised? I know we did way back when you changed it from the first one. Yes, on the final plan, you do have the construction cost, but I have a better one now, because now I have my contractor lined up, and I have the exact numbers for you. So I can give that to you. So we have the engineer. I don't know if that's gonna change his.
Does it reduce your number?
And I think it does, only, here's the problem. My contractor said, okay, I'm putting in this whole stormwater system, okay? So it's hard for me to say how much is gonna be, how much is the work on the Manor side, how much is the work on the PT side. So I thought a reasonable way to do it was, it's a 9-acre property, 2 acres is Manor, 7 acres is PT. So maybe take that whole number that I can show you with my contractor and say 2 nights and 7 nights.
I don't think it works that way. If he built that way, if he's estimated that way, he's killing himself. But secondly, if on one property there is a pipe that has collected water, and that pipe goes all the way across the line to the other borough, and over there's a detention pond. Where's the bulk of the expenses? It's that pond, on that pipe. So you may be correct on the detention pond that's on Manor Borough at 110%, because if they started that upstream, you're still gonna have to cover the pipe and the pond that hasn't been built yet, because you can put a temporary pond up on their site during construction in a parking lot. And so you don't have to put the whole thing in at that point. So Conservation District can approve that. I mean, the stormwater plan doesn't show that, but.
But if I go away, you don't have to finish the site.
You don't have to finish.
If you have any water being collected in Penn Township
Yes, we do.
side,
If
it
we have-
flows
we have
to Manor
one-
Borough, we gotta finish all the way down the pond.
No, we have one underground system in Penn Township, we have one over in Manor.
If you go away and it's not finished, we would have your bond, because we would still have to finish the
Underground.
MS4 component of that development if nothing is ever built there.
Right, but you wouldn't need 110% of the cost.
Yeah, we might need more than that, because keep in mind, you, as a private citizen, can get contractor aid to do something. Us, as a municipality, are subject to prevailing wage and all that stuff, which generally increases the cost 25–30% sometimes.
But my private stormwater system is there because I'm pretty much am paving the whole property. So that's what it's designed for.
And is all that impervious collected on the Manor side, going into the Manor underground storage?
No, the design is for almost the whole property is impervious. Okay.
Pervious?
Impervious.
Right,
So-
impervious. So where's all that parking lot water going on the
Some's
Manor
going
side?
to the PT side and some's going to the Manor side. But the majority is going to the PT side first, phase 2.
But where does PTs then go? Does it go into Manor, or does it flow to Manor, or does it flow to some other water?
The majority of the stormwater from the entrance ways and go to the stormwater system on the PP side. And then there's a portion of the roof drainage from that building that this one can't handle, so it goes over to the Manor. The Manor one is still gonna be built, because that needs to be there for when I build phase 2, which is the building on the Manor side, bigger building.
But you can't do it without Manors regardless because of the roof line on phase 1.
Believe me, I asked my engineer, can I just build the one side, phase 1, and build the other one, phase 2? He said, no, because you need that second system. Now, even though I'm not paving over there in a lot of places, so, but we designed it so that in the future I could build the whole thing.
Right.
So I'm not sure if I can go away.
He can avoid all this. Just gotta build the whole system now.
Yeah, but he does,
Why
yeah.
do you think most of them-
He is.
He is, but it's costing him
110% for the construction cost for the storm component on the Manor side, which is what our ordinance requires.
If you look on this, there's a sheet, it's roughly 13,000.
There's a reason.
Yeah, that's the 110 versus 5,000 over Penn Township side.
And I'm asking for that relief, because I think it's reasonable, because, like, I don't think that if I go away, that you have to build those stormwater systems.
Let me see if I remember this one. Are we doing open ponds or are we doing 4-foot corrugated?
Underground systems.
Okay, if we have underground, I've done the systems, but I have the collection system in catch basins and roof drains, impervious surfaces, all of it. Goes down underground, under parking lots, is a corrugated system of just pipes to collect the water. And at the end of the pipe, at the lowest point, there's holes in that pipe to connect the pipes that go into the streams. So if that's the case, my question is, if we're going the same stream, do you have a pipe from Penn Township and a pipe from Manor going to that stream? Or is the Penn Township pipe connecting into the Manor Borough system and coming out?
There's only one pipe that goes from Penn Township to that larger system, that's to collect what's needed to be collected off. Everything else goes.
Yeah, but where's that water go though? If it goes in its own collection system under the pavement, where does it daylight out into a stream?
It goes from the stormwater into the collection and then out the end into the stream, I guess. I mean,
Well, that's downhill from the Manor Borough side, the stream, close to the turnpike.
If I remember correctly.
So there has to be a pipe.
It goes down towards, Sandywood Place. And it connects in there, because actually they have to they have to do another manhole because of the elevations. When they reviewed that,
Yeah,
they
there's a
required
height
another manhole because of the elevations. And then from there.
I had to do a bond for that too.
Huh?
I have to give them a bond too, for the sewage system.
Yeah, because you're crossing their sewer line, that's on the sewage system. And then it goes from there down towards the turnpike, it discharges into that stream channel.
Yep. So my point is, if Manor Borough is between the stream and Penn Township, how are we getting the collection system on the Penn Township side to that stream?
Streams up above the whole property. So it's not go, the stream, nothing's being taken from Penn Township side over into the.
So you're running, everything that comes from the PT, everything you collect on the PT side is going separately to a runoff. Everything on the Manor side's staying separate and going, there's no connection from.
Yeah, there's a connection, I wish there was no connection because I build in phase one and then phase two.
The building on the PT site, that he can't get all the storm
That's just
water.
that runoff of the roof.
Just the roof, yeah.
Yeah, but that could be sizable. That's a decent size.
But it's designed, but the property's designed, I'm doing the whole stormwater system, I'm not doing phases, the whole thing.
So the question here is, he's asking us to lessen the 110.
No, we can't vote on it.
Right, we can't vote on right now. So we could, at some point, have Chelsea.
What I could do is I could talk to council and if they decide they're gonna move on it, it could go on next month's agenda, or I can give you a decision of what they're doing. So if they decide, if they wanna allow you to do it, then it could get on next month's agenda. If they don't, then you'll get a letter that.
So, let me ask,
Because Ed should have really been here for that.
Yeah.
Can I ask one thing? So plan B would be, what if I can get Penn Township to bond the entire system? Okay, so that doesn't affect, so it's bonding, okay? But the maintenance, of course, would be separate development agreements that we can't do that.
We can't do that.
I don't think we.
It's a nice idea, but they can't do it because they can't bond Manor Borough. They can, it sounds good to basically have them cover that liability, but that, no surety company is going to bind a project unless they include the municipality that it lies.
Okay. Oh, I understand. So that's wrong then. So let's say, so I guess my request is, will you consider doing the 25% across the whole system? Because I think that will cover your liability. I'm not going anywhere. This is just going to be something we're talking about now. It's never going to happen. It's not going anywhere. And also, and just when you consider that, please consider like the sheet spreadsheet I gave you of all the numbers. I think there's $52,000 on there. And those are not my engineering costs. Those are not my design of the building, architectural costs. Those are just for fees and permits and township. I paid $9,000 to Manor for the engineering review. I paid $6,500 to Penn Township for the review.
But if you don't use all the review fee, that'll be returned.
Right, I understand.
You will have to post inspection fees.
I understand.
Which
Yes, there's
you were
question marks.
supposed to post at the beginning, but we let you not post them until you start construction.
Right, and I hope you'll.
And I have a developer's agreement together and a stormwater maintenance agreement that's with the engineer right now to be reviewed, and then once he's good with it, I'll give it to you. So you know, regardless, whatever the numbers are, you'll have it.
But I'm just asking that, this has been an incredibly expensive 3-year process, and very, very difficult, only because I submitted one application to Manor and the same one to PT. It's been very difficult. So this, considering it's kind of the norm to do some percentage as opposed to 1 time, I really consider that.
We'll let you know one way or the other.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Yep. Any other closing comments? I need a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I spoke up louder this time.
Yeah, but that's
Wow.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nice.
Yeah, I know.